Hey everybody, you are tuning into the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. You're here a little early. Congratulations. And a big old congratulations to Guthbrand as the first comment of the day comes over from Twitch. Okay, folks. So, as usual, I want to remind you, you need to follow us on multiple platforms. It's the only way to make sure that you get notifications when we go live and you never want to miss a show. So if you haven't done it yet, follow us over at twitch.tv/CanaryCryRadio, or if you're already doing that, follow us over on youtube.com/CanaryCryRadio. And remember, it really helps out a lot if we get those like buttons smashed at the beginning of the show. Helps tell the algorithms to share it out. Okay, folks, as usual, remember to stay hydrated and buckle up, because here we go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is December 23rd, 2020. This is episode 280, and today, The Great Resist. And it's Christmas is coming, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we praise Jesus while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. Welcome to the show.
Yay. All right. So we're almost there, Gonz. We made it past the 21st. No,
we're
giant
still here.
Asteroid. Yes, I haven't gained any superpowers or whatever else was supposed to happen. Things continue on their completely insane trajectory.
Yeah, I was hoping like the movie Night of the Comet, which I am reviewing now, from 1984. I was hoping to wake up to a retro wave life, you know?
Yeah.
Sky red, me riding a motorcycle down the street.
Not so much luck there, Gonz.
I know, it didn't happen. I'm still in my minivan with children in the back.
Another monolith did pop up on the 21st, though, over in Napa, California.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think we have a story about it, but, don't need to read an article about another monolith popping up. We all know what happens.
You know what we should do? You and I, we should put up a monolith with our logo on it. You know, if we're going to do the monolith thing, put a logo on it so it's it's free advertising.
Yeah, it's not very good advertising. Whoever's doing this, so we don't know. There's no QR code to scan on those things.
Yeah, but for those in the know, it's a advertisement for the evolution of man and the ascension of humanity and the New World Order elite. The whole thing. So that's what it is. Yeah.
Oh, I thought somebody was just giving the Earth some acupuncture treatment or something. Yeah, the one in Napa looks a little different, though. You know, the other one's been popping up. They're all very straight lines, very clean, very monolithic. This one was all wiggly and rough edges. It kind of reminded me of, the monolith version of, it's rustic, like you would find in an antique shop in Napa.
Is it Napa, California?
Mm-hmm. I think.
I'm seeing.
I don't know what other Napa is, and there's some people posing by it with wine, I think, because Napa.
Yeah, they should have just had a giant wine bottle monolith instead of
we don't even have to put up our own monolith. We can just go to the existing one, slap a sticker on there, baby.
Oh yeah, good call.
Okay. Well, what do we got going on with right at the top here?
Yes.
I do want to mention, if you haven't done it yet, hit the like button on YouTube. Thank you very much. Helps those algorithms out. And don't worry, you can always take it away later if you want, but please do it now. But other than that, I do want to mention again the Canary Cry News Talk custom knife giveaway. That's right. Your time is ticking. You've only got 5-6 days. And for those who did not hear about it, maybe you skipped the break on last episode. We have very talented producer Nigel who creates custom knives, and he has so generously offered to make one available to a very lucky Canarian. And so if you're a collector or you just like cool stuff, or whatever you're into, you should enter to win a custom-built knife from producer Nigel. And he is, I believe, Gonz, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not even built yet. He's waiting till there's a winner, and then there will be discussions. I mean, it truly is a custom job.
Yeah, whoever the winner turns out to be will get in contact with Nigel, and he will tailor make some of the elements of the knife for you. So the thing to keep in mind, these knives,
it will kill.
That's right. Very, very sharp.
Yeah.
And it'll be a good post-apocalyptic zombie cutting knife.
Yes. How do people do it? How do people enter?
So this is what you're going to do, because sweepstakes laws are very complicated and we can't sell raffle tickets or anything. What we are doing is doing a social media blitz. So on whatever social media you use, if you share a piece of Canary Cry radio or Canary Cry News Talk content, maybe it's an episode, maybe it's a video, maybe it's a podcast, whatever it may be, share something on a post, tell people how much you love the show, and make sure to hashtag it with hashtag Canary Cry News Talk, so we'll be able to find it, and you'll get one entry for every post you do. So go nuts, and we'll be searching the major social media networks for that hashtag. So make sure to put the hashtag on there, hashtag Canary Cry News Talk. And but if you want to doubly make sure you get put into the drawing, you can take a screenshot and send it to canarycryradio@gmail.com. So make sure to do that. You've got a pretty good chance. I mean, there's been some people doing it, but as of now, I'm telling you, if you make a couple posts and send them in, you got a pretty good chance of getting a sweet custom-made knife from a Canary Cry producer.
Yep, there you go. Good stuff.
Okie dokie. All right. Any election hubbub we need to get out of the way here at the top?
And so my question is very direct. Is voting by mail secure?
Yeah, a couple things. There's the latest I'm receiving here in a tweet by Dr. Russell McGregor. Breaking, Rudy Giuliani drops a bomb on the war room, says Arizona lawmakers will likely vote Wednesday to certify President Trump as a winner. So
wow.
That's today, right?
Certainly would be something. Yeah.
So
is that going on today? Should we keep an eye on the Rudy Giuliani Twitter account?
Well, I don't know if he has one, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll see if that actually goes down, but Trump needs a little more than that to reverse the election.
At least it would be something. I mean,
sure,
come on.
Sure. The other thing, the Washington Examiner published this on the 22nd. Sidney Powell accuses White House officials of blocking her access to Trump. And, Sidney Powell, the Kraken lady.
Yeah.
And she's got all the goods. And I think she does. I actually do think she does have some pretty compelling evidence that hasn't been properly vetted in the courts, because obviously it's been, all the courts are rejecting it before they even weigh the evidence. It's
lack of standing. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I think they're afraid, and this sort of confirms the bias that they don't want the evidence to be put out there, or I don't know. Or she's just, Trump is like, I don't need
So
you.
what do they mean blocking? Like not letting her make phone calls to him? Or does it have any details on what that even means?
Yeah, it says here that...
Are they physically boxing her out like an NBA play?
Yeah, so this is Powell's quote from the article. I haven't met or spoken with the president since Friday night. The president knows this election was stolen, but he is not getting the support he, the Constitution, and the Republic deserve. His own people are misleading and undermining him while protecting their own careers and agendas, which, again, I wouldn't be surprised if that's true. I think she is pretty spot on with that. Quote, I haven't spoken with the DNI on those issues at all, she added. My efforts to educate Rudy on demonstrable foreign interference in the election, including multiple CISA and FBI findings, have been met with irrational hostility. I've been blocked by White House counsel and others from seeing or speaking to the president since I raised the public formal findings and even more evidence of the foreign interference from Iran and China in this election. And she goes on here. What are they trying to hide? American elections are supposed to be easily auditable and transparent. That's why federal law punishes the failure to keep all records for 22 months with up to 1 year in prison. This is important not only to the United States, but to the world. There is no way of hiding this fraud and moving on as if any election could ever be trusted again. Our entire government seems to have become a big lie and cover-up. The American people are 100% fed up. So, I don't know. I guess, she was... Because I was seeing things about Sidney Powell visiting the White House last week. So, maybe there is some kind of physical stoppage where, you can't go in, or you can't call, or you can't do anything.
On that account, they're boxing me out of the White House, too. White House officials are restricting Basil from getting to President Trump.
Well, they see this swole, googly-eyed man with a pizza wrapped around his waist walking towards the White House.
Oh, my gosh, he's so strong. Don't let him near us.
There's one thing there. I do want to mention a couple other things regarding the elections, and I didn't know where to put this. I didn't want to make it a whole thing, but part of the concern here is that China is behind the corruption of the election, and
yes, that would be concerning.
It would be definitely concerning, and also China has been behind the communist world takeover. Has been part of the plan that's rolled out for years, and I think we're seeing a big part of it now. But as part of that discussion, I wanted to share this piece by thehill.com real quick, and it's written by Joseph Bosco, opinion contributor, and the title of this article is, "We Can Help the Chinese People Change Their Communist Regime." And I was reading through this, and I thought, what in the world? I mean, if this isn't part of the takeover narrative, I don't know what is. So let me just read a couple paragraphs real quick. When Joe Biden takes over from Donald Trump, he will confront a complex and daunting China problem. But Trump's team will also leave Biden a simple, though not easy, China solution: to take Chinese Communist Party, CCP, out of the equation. Well, before China unleashed the coronavirus, I know. Well, before China unleashed the coronavirus pandemic, the Trump administration was moving toward a confrontation with the People's Republic in the realm of information warfare. Moving toward? Wasn't Trump already well established against China throughout his whole presidency? Anyway, I just thought it was weird that they're like,
it was a mixture,
they're moving towards it, but
they were always aggressive towards one another. Although Trump did say Xi Jinping is a great guy.
It's playing politics, you know that for a fact. But then later on in the article, it talks about the Chinese people. They just want clarity. And they say the Chinese people clearly hunger for honest information and friendly communication with the American people, including U.S. officials. Messages from Pottinger, Miles Yu at the State Department Office of Policy Planning, and other Mandarin speakers in the government would find receptive audiences in China. The natural conduit for such direct communication would be an expanded and invigorated effort by Radio Free Asia and Voice of America. But some at Voice VOA fear a conflict between reporting the news and disseminating propaganda. And if you don't know, the Voice of America is part of the Smith-Munn Modernization Act they were the ones that are named in that in the legislation that allowed Voice of America to basically propagandize to America what they would propagandize to other nations.
Right.
And so I thought it was very interesting that they're making the VOA, the main arm here, that if you just allow them to speak the truth to the Chinese people, then they wouldn't really get in our way anymore. And it's just, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
So
that's funny. Well, they're just assuming that nobody actually knows what's in the Smith Modernization Act, because it takes, as most things in life and the news, if you pay just a little bit more attention than they want you to, then the whole lie unravels. And that's kind of the deal here.
Yeah, and the CCP and the Marxist groups and stuff, they have been quietly behind the scenes with everything from a lot of the BLM stuff to the virus in general and the crashing economy, all that stuff. It's clear that they're part of it, although I don't know that they're alone in it. You know what I mean? I think that they're also getting assistance from some people up on high above
lizard
all
people.
Of it. Lizard people. Real quick, again, I'm just trying to blaze through this. We're not the only ones having issues with elections. Israel heads to polls again amid pandemic and prime minister's legal woes. So, Netanyahu's in trouble again. He's going to, I think they said it's going to be a fourth election in less than 2 years after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's fractured ruling coalition failed to pass a budget bill early Wednesday. So, I don't know, Israel's having all sorts of political issues as well. Yeah. And I thought I'd play this clip real quick of Bibi Netanyahu thanking or telling the American people to Merry Christmas, all that stuff. He says something kind of interesting in there, though. I'll stop it right after he says it here.
I wish Israel's many Christian friends around the world a very Merry Christmas. On behalf of the people of Israel, I thank each and every one of you for your prayers and for your support. This Christmas, the traditional greeting of peace on earth will once again be expressed by millions across the globe. This while our world suffers from the terrible COVID-19 pandemic and far from too much violence and conflict. But remarkably, here in the Middle East, we've been actively making progress in realizing the biblical prophecy of peace on earth, or at least this part of the earth.
Oh?
The biblical prophecy of peace on earth, or at least this part of the earth.
Let me play that again real quick. I stopped it at a bad spot.
Realizing the biblical prophecy of peace on earth.
Here
in the Middle East, we've been actively making progress in realizing the biblical prophecy of peace on earth, or at least this part of the earth.
Here in the Middle East, we've been actively pursuing actively making progress in realizing the biblical prophecy of peace on earth.
That's very interesting.
Really weird
I feel
to
like
say.
He's missing a couple steps there.
At least a couple steps, but also if you're trying to appeal to many of the American evangelicals, they sit there and talk about how the Antichrist is going to make a peace deal. I don't think that's what it says in Daniel, but a lot of people think that there's going to be a peace deal in Israel. And so I don't know. I don't know how that hits the American evangelical that are mostly dispensationalist and pre-trib and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of religion talk, recently with politics. And when you start mixing it in and when you start bringing up the phrase Bible prophecy and peace on earth, it's just, I don't know. It's a little weird. But again, I bring it up during the election section because it's just some things that don't fit necessarily in other parts of the show because it's fairly politically motivated discussions here. And then one more thing.
That's very interesting. Okay.
It is very interesting. Just something to keep an eye out for. And then one more thing, Biden had his little speech there in Wilmington, Delaware yesterday. And a couple clips from that.
Crisis. I'm going to tell it to you straight. I'm going to tell you the truth. And here's the simple truth. Our darkest days in the battle against COVID are ahead of us, not behind us.
Real optimistic. Real optimistic guy.
On. Now that we have everybody again locked down, wearing masks, taking vaccines, now we can get to the really bad stuff.
I just thought, for morale, he's just really good for morale. The darkest days are the dark winter still ahead.
It's going to be this is bad.
It's going to be like March, and he's
going to I take office.
Yeah. It's going to be like March, and he's going to talk about how the dark winter is turning into the dark spring, and it will be a dark summer.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the 15 days to flatten the curve.
Yeah. The other thing is obviously, and this is why I think the hack, we had theorized that the big national security hack that happened was probably China behind the scenes, involved in that, because Joe Biden's going in hard on Trump, not doing what he's supposed to. It happened on his watch and all this kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh!
But the solution, because it's always problem, reaction, solution. The solution is very interesting.
Cyber threats are among the greatest threats to our global security in the 21st century. I believe we have to treat them with the same seriousness of purpose that we treated threats of other unconventional weapons. We have to work with our allies to establish clear international rules and mechanisms to enforce them, and consequences for those countries that violate them.
Clear international rules and I think he meant mechanisms. But clear international rules and mechanisms. I don't know. This sounds kind of New World Order-ish to me. Like a single rule for the entire world.
Well, it goes back to the issue with the SolarWinds hack and any sort of potential foreign interference is they're trying to figure out if this was an active war or if it was just some sort of tomfoolery. Right. So, yeah, there's this with Biden trying to act like a strong man in response to this cyber attack. Somebody did bring it up to me a couple days ago about Biden potentially wanting to go to war with China. And it just seemed so silly for so many reasons. But, if you connect, it only takes a few dots to connect to, he's posturing himself pretty strongly there.
Well,
and going to war with China is probably the worst possible thing we could do right now.
Well, I mean, it would only make sense in that he would already have a deal with China.
Well, right. Yeah, there'd be some smoky back room stuff going on.
Right. It wouldn't be like hey, we're down with China. It would be more like, hey, this is great for both of us because we can, get the military involved. You can damage our country a little more.
War traditionally being an economic sort of catalyst.
Right. That's how innovation takes place. Is wars. Yeah. That's how we reestablish the world. If the people don't comply, we must.
Can't have a great reset without another great world war.
Exactly. Come on, man.
Right.
So there you go.
Okay. Well, I got a little something to flip us up, to cheer us up, and that is a little Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. If you're new to the show, Flippy is the colloquial name we have for the robot arms, the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a proxy conversation to explore how robotics and AI will inevitably take over the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. But today, a little bit of a fun one, Gons. Thought because of the, it's almost Christmas, we got to have a little lighthearted moment. You'll be happy to know that I've only got 3 episodes left of The Mandalorian.
All right.
So we'll be able to talk about that soon. But over here at Gizmodo.com, Baby Yoda Robot uses AI to follow you around like a creepy toddler. Yay! If there's one thing stores are now well stocked with, it's Baby Yoda toys. And while you can shell out hundreds of dollars for a startlingly lifelike replica of Grogu, this DIY does what all others can't: automatically follow you everywhere you go, like a curious 50-year-old toddler. Oh, so cute. Creator Emmanuel Ahumada wanted his Baby Yoda replica to be smarter than all the rest, so he designed and 3D printed a custom robotic frame with moving arms. There's Flippy, a head that inquisitively looks up and down, and a set of wheels so his Grogu could get around faster than the tiny-legged character in The Mandalorian could. The creation was stuffed inside a gutted, off-the-shelf Baby Yoda toy, while electronics, including a Raspberry Pi, servos, and electric motors, were added to bring the recreation to life. Like many of the toy versions of Baby Yoda, Ahumada's version can be controlled remotely using a PlayStation 4 controller talking to the onboard Raspberry Pi over Bluetooth, but for more autonomy, a series of movements can also be performed, recorded, and played back, making Grogu appear more lifelike all on his own. Things get even more interesting when the child is given his own smartphone that he holds in front of him. It may look like he's checking social media, but the smartphone is actually running Intel's OpenBot app, which uses machine learning models to process a live feed from the device's camera. In this case, the app scans the video for the presence of a human, identifies them, tracks their location and movements, and then automatically controls Baby Yoda's wheeled platform to follow the person wherever they go. It's impressive to see just how quickly a surprisingly capable robot can be thrown together today using off-the-shelf parts like Raspberry Pi and a smartphone. Earlier this year, Mattel released its own robotic Baby Yoda toy that follows you around like a needy dependent, but it also requires you to carry around a remote control. It's cuter than Ahumada's creation, which, we'll be the first to admit, is kind of creepy, but kudos to him for totally one-upping all the big toy companies. So there you go, Gons. We can have our own little Grogu follow us around and eat animals. I was watching The Mandalorian, and little Baby Yoda spends about 80% of his time eating live animals.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
So there you go. This has been an interesting trend where artificial intelligence and machine learning has become more and more accessible to not just accessible in a sort of commercial way, but also in a coding way. I mean, there's pre-built modules that you can pretty much make a little robot do whatever you want with not a whole lot of experience. And this is what the world needs more of. Less weaponized dog robots, more cute little alien baby robots.
Which are being exploited to record all your every move.
Yes. Yeah, right. So it's a little spy cam.
Yeah.
You can build your own little spy cam to follow you around and keep tabs. It's kind of like wearing a body cam, where you'll wear a body cam so you can record everything that happens during the day. Soon, instead of body cams, all our police officers will have little Baby Yodas following them around, keeping them accountable to the people.
Yeah, I really wish they would have made it so, he walks in real time. Or like the show where he's very slow, he kind of wobbles.
Yeah, this is a little too definitely faster. This is a fast Baby Yoda.
Or the other thing that would have been cool to make is that little egg-shaped floaty thing that he rides in. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. His little bassinet, his space bassinet.
Floating bassinet. I want one of those just so I can put my baby in it and ride around, That'd be cool. Yeah. But anyway, great, fantastic.
There you go.
Creepy. Is that it? That's all you have?
That's it. That's all I have for that's it. Now to get intense again.
Okay. All right, here we go. Some brief updates.
We interrupt this broadcast to give you a brief update. By the end of this timely interruption, you will be thoroughly updated.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
33 is the Illuminati dog whistle. And speaking of 33, WSAZ.com. West Virginia County Alert System, 33 red counties.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, 33.
Oh, this is not Arizona. This is somewhere else.
Yeah, 33 West Virginia counties were listed as red on the state's color-coded COVID-19 county alert system map on Tuesday. So, yeah, it doesn't have to do with
those who missed last episode, it was New Mexico has 33 counties, and they were all red counties. And that made sense. If the whole state is red, then okay, 33 red counties. But this is West Virginia has more than 33 counties, but they have 33 red counties.
And this is COVID alert red, not Republican
COVID,
red. Just to confuse everybody. And I did just see Austin go into alert, what is it, level 5 alert or whatever.
Oh, great.
So they're locking back down. They just wanted to, it just so happens, a couple days before Christmas. And one of the things with the red alert is no family gatherings. So,
yes, of course.
They really just want to destroy.
Christmas is canceled, folks.
Yeah. And all the anti-Christmas people are stoked about it. They're all like, you pagan Odin worshippers, this is what you get. Yep. Yeah, but if you're stuck inside, don't fret, because according to sugarandcharm.com, 33 Christmas movies to watch for the holiday.
Classics. Right in our faces, huh?
Classics like Elf, the Express, Polar Express.
Oh, jeez. Elf, notoriously directed by the director of The Mandalorian.
That's right, yeah. Christmas Carol, Scrooged, Christmas Story. Yeah, there's a good handful of them. Do you have a favorite Christmas movie?
With Christmas movies.
I know. Do you have a favorite Christmas movie?
Yeah, I have a tradition every year. Every Christmas and half Christmas, I will watch the Muppets Christmas Carol.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah. Seen that sucker hundreds of times. It's a great movie.
I didn't know there was a Gremlins Christmas special.
I did not either.
I might have to check that one out. A neighbor of mine was telling me about some Norwegian horror Christmas movie where they find the skeleton of Santa, and he's got like horns and stuff, and all the elves are these old looking these guys with white beards.
Does Krampus make an appearance?
I don't think it could be part of the Krampus story, but I don't think it was explicitly.
The Judenkatten?
Yeah, I don't know.
The Yule Cat? Have you heard of the Yule Cat? Have I talked about the Yule Cat?
I have. I don't know. I don't know what the Yule Cat is.
The Yule Cat, I think it's Icelandic. It's some sort of Scandinavian Christmas, folk tale where there's a giant cat that roams around on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, and he's gigantic. And if any young children are caught walking around the forest not wearing their new Christmas clothes, they get eaten by the Judenkatten.
Oh.
Yeah.
Always
so wear your new Christmas clothes, kids.
Yeah, but anyway, getting back to the 33 updates, this headline is probably one of the craziest 33 updates that I've ever seen here. This is ndtv.com. One death every 33 seconds in U.S.'s deadliest COVID-19 week so far. Report.
Perfect.
What? Wow. Are you serious?
That's so silly.
Wow, that is very convenient. It's like, whoa, man. Like, what, did they sit there on the calculator and, we hit it, every 33 seconds, publish it, go to print.
Yeah, no, I saw this got reported a couple times. I did see once a minute, which I guess 33 seconds would be once a minute, every other minute. But yes, then it got updated to every 33 seconds. Well, so it's legit and not suspicious at all.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. Why 33 seconds? That's just 1 minute makes sense.
The spell wouldn't work. You know this.
Of course. The 1 minute makes sense. Even the 30 seconds makes sense. You can say 2 a minute, but no, one every 33 seconds.
Yeah,
very bizarre.
Perfect timing.
Okay, there's a couple places where I found the New World Order mentioned.
A new world order can emerge.
That needs to be updated to has emerged.
Yeah, right.
This is the Arizona State University website, asunow.asu.edu. And the headline here is Exploring New Worlds in Virtual Reality. And yeah, you might think, whatever, just a thing about exploring new worlds there in the VR setting in education. But basically it talks about instead of stepping into a classroom, you step into a 16 by 16 square foot space with a moving floor and blowing wind. And once you're seated, you're transported light years away. You're an avatar in this new world. I thought I had the phrase highlighted, but I guess I don't. So I'm going to have to look for it real quick. Here it is. Okay. This isn't a game. It's ASU's new virtual reality immersive biology curriculum called Dreamscape Learn, made possible through a partnership with Dreamscape Immerse. Based on the work of curriculum experts at ASU, students in the university and beyond will benefit from the New World Order of Education, VR immersive learning.
Ooh.
And of course, ASU, the home of the Sun Devils.
Yeah, perfect.
So them Sun Devils are getting, familiar with the AI education, or not the AI, the VR immersed education. So there you go, Basil. You're already halfway there.
Yeah, maybe I can become an adjunct professor.
Yeah, you can.
With my industry experience.
You can tell them you spend on camera
10 hours
10
a
hours
week.
a week on VR. The other part, or the other article where I found the New World Order mentioned, foodbusinessnews.net, the next evolution of food retail, pivot or you're out. Ooh, harsh words. And here it talks about, there's a quote here. There's much more context going on. Delivery and curbside pickup are absolute table stakes going forward. It's going to be essential to provide those services to customers if you want to play in this new world order.
No.
Just a really interesting way to talk
Just
about
here to play.
The changing food industry. And I don't know. Why do you have to say that? I mean, maybe this guy is like, he's a listener of the show or something, and he's kind of trolling, but I doubt it. I think he's more like, hey, man, if you want to be a part of this game moving forward in the food industry, this is how you got to play in the New World Order.
Well, you know how, restaurants being some of the most, at least visible, victims of the economic lockdowns, and the restaurant business may never ever go back to what it used to be. So there's some restaurant owners and people trying to get creative on how to make it work, but it was already a tough business, and it's just going to get even tougher. And it looks like this guy's thinking they can just adapt to the New World Order, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah, delivering food, part of the New World Order. So,
yeah.
One more quick thing here before I'll hand it off to you, because you have a quick update. But this is, so WikiLeaks dumped a whole bunch of stuff the other day, and one of them was this piece of paper that shows Steve Jobs testing positive for HIV via PCR.
Oh, wow.
Back in 2004.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
I've never seen this before.
No, I haven't either. I don't know if this was something that was peddled around in the QAnon groups or some Anon group, but I'd never heard of it.
Is it the Steve Jobs?
I mean, it says Stephen Paul Jobs.
I didn't know his middle name was Paul, but they do have a date of birth and stuff there. Oh, they've got his social security number.
Yeah, but he's deceased.
He's
allegedly.
Passed. Yes, but even with somebody who's passed, if you have their social security number, that's one of the biggest problems with social security is the person can pass, but their living relatives, if that can finagle it, so they keep receiving their social security payments.
I just think it's weird that it has PCR on here. Given all the discussions we've had about PCR, that was the item used, or the method used to identify HIV-1 in Steve Jobs here. I guess in 2004.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
That's very interesting.
Who knows?
All right. Thanks, PCR.
Thanks, PCR. Appreciate all the contributions. I really feel bad for, Carey Mullis, the guy who invented it. I don't think he would be too happy with how it's being used.
No, he's rolling in his grave right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a quick update for you. This floated across the news desk here, dailymail.co.uk. Just a fun little update. NASA scientists achieve long-distance quantum teleportation over 27 miles for the first time, paving the way for unhackable networks that transfer data faster than the speed of light. What a coincidence. They just happen to successfully create a quantum network just a week or two after the biggest hack in history. Scientists have demonstrated long-distance quantum teleportation, the instant transfer of units of quantum information known as qubits, for the first time. The qubits were transferred faster than the speed of light over a distance of 27 miles, laying the foundations for a quantum internet service, which would one day revolutionize computing. Quantum communication systems are faster and more secure than regular networks because they use photons rather than computer code, which can be hacked. But their development relies on cutting-edge scientific theory, which blah, 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 blah. So I didn't want to get too deep into it, but of course, the practical uses of quantum technology, we've been tracking that for many years now. And this is a really big step. And it's funny because with this finding, now, of course, they're still miles away from getting to a place where it's commercially viable. But just as Elon Musk is putting up his super slow, awful internet with Skylink, or Starlink, rather.
Starlink, yeah.
Yeah. Just as he's getting that to a place where it could be a commercially viable business, they go ahead and create quantum internet that will completely destroy any need for Starlink. So, I don't know. Maybe he'll upgrade the Starlinks with quantum internet.
Oh, I'm thinking it's already on there. He's just waiting for the perfect moment to unleash it. And it'll just open up. And quantum lasers will shoot down on people's Neuralinks.
This is pretty impressive, for the first time, because the theories of relativity, which were Einstein's most famous work there, basically stated that nothing can go faster than the speed of light. If you're going faster than the speed of light, you're going backwards in time. And so, they've sent information faster than the speed of light. So that wonder what kind of nice little space-time ripples that could send throughout the multiverse.
Yeah, talk about the Minority Report style, knowing crime or pre-crime type of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Is the quantum computer going to know what I'm going to search?
He'll send an email. You'll sit down to send an email, and you'll get the reply from the person before you even press send.
Hey, man, it's going to make life real easy.
Yeah,
we're just going to be in one big loop, one big time loop.
Yeah, just what we need. Okay, well, there you go. That's enough for the updates today. I think we should get into a main story here. What do you say?
Artificial intelligence. A pandemic special.
That's right. Now, I'm going to take a little story here from thelancet.com, one of the most famous and notorious and previously respectable medical journals that came under fire earlier this year after there were some coronavirus researchers, or studies rather, that went against the mainstream narrative, which brought the reliability of the Lancet into question. Imagine how that works. But we've got another thing to look at here, and that is artificial intelligence for COVID-19. Savior or saboteur? Oh, great. Thank you. As 2020 draws to a close, one thing is certain. The COVID-19 pandemic has had an irreversible effect on the world. The effect on digital health is no exception. The cyberdemic is coming for you, guns. The pandemic has forced healthcare providers and governments around the world to accelerate the development of artificial intelligence tools and scale up their use in medicine, even before they are proven to work. An untested AI algorithm has even received emergency authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. But will the use of this untested AI systems help or hinder patients with COVID-19? Now, first of all, it took me by surprise. I did not know that the FDA was in the business of regulating computer code.
Number one. Number two, that they would approve an untested AI algorithm. Just roll it out there.
Yeah,
let's just see what happens.
I mean, they approved the vaccine, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, the bar has been set.
Yes. The article continues. The lax regulatory landscape for COVID-19 AI algorithms has raised substantial concern among medical researchers. A living systematic review published in the BMJ highlights that COVID-19 AI models are poorly reported and trained on small or low-quality datasets with high risk of bias. Gary Collins, professor of medical statistics at the University of Oxford and co-author of the BMJ review, told The Lancet Digital Health, quote, full and transparent reporting of all key details of development and evaluation of prediction models for COVID-19 is vital. Failure to report important details not only contributes to research waste, but more importantly can lead to a poorly developed and evaluated model being used that could cause more harm than benefit in clinical decision making. So basically what he's doing here is referring to the black box issue of artificial intelligence, but not just with the AI itself, but with the fact that the researchers are not releasing all the information. So it's this highly secretive research arm, or research category rather, that again makes no attempt for true scientific beneficiaries in the world. It was like, nope, here's the thing. Didn't test it. Don't care. Approve it. Go to work. No, we're not going to tell you how it works, because then we couldn't use it for whatever we want to use it for.
Just to chime in real quick, a lot of the climate change stuff, and I think even the coronavirus stuff, a lot of it has been based on models, computer models, using AI and using trajectory, and a lot of it is the information is not public. Like what
and
kind
climate
of data
change
they use
too.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
what I
the
said.
Climate change models. Yeah,
that's what I said. So all of it has been, even like the Al Gore stuff in the past. So it's interesting that they're asking for transparency here, almost like, okay, it was all right for a little while, but it's getting a little out of hand.
We've seen how this goes in the past.
Yeah, so I thought it was interesting that they're moving in that direction, or at least asking for the whole industry to move in that direction now that AI is becoming more prevalent. But continue.
Well, this is in the Lancet, so you know it's fake news, Gone. It's just one of the oldest and most reliable journals. Continuing to support, the article continues, to support transparency and reproducible reporting, source code and de-identified patient data sets for COVID-19 AI algorithms should be open and accessible to the research community. One such study published in The Lancet Digital Health reports a new AI COVID-19 screening test named Curial AI, which uses routinely collected clinical data for patients presenting to hospital. In the hope that AI can help keep patients and healthcare workers safe, Andrew Sultan and colleagues state that the AI test could allow exclusion of patients who do not have COVID-19 and ensure that patients with COVID-19 receive treatment rapidly. This is one of the largest AI studies to date, with clinical data from more than 100,000 cases in the UK. Prospective validation of the AI screening test showed accurate and faster results compared with gold standard PCR tests. Great. See, this is almost its own little Hegelian dialectic, you know. PCR, it's great. It's what we have. It's the best. Oh, but it's a huge problem and it easily gives false positives. Well, don't worry. The artificial intelligence is here to save us from ourselves.
Better, bigger, tastier.
The article continues, however, like other COVID-19 AI models, Curial AI requires validation across geographically and ethnically diverse populations to assess its real-world performance. Sultan emphasized that, quote, we also do not know yet if the AI model would generalize to patient cohorts in different countries where patients may come to hospital with a different spectrum of medical problems. Even if preliminary models like Curial AI are proven to accurately diagnose disease in a wide range of populations, do they add clinical value to healthcare systems? Last month, X, the Alphabet subsidiary. Oh, great. I'm glad X is getting in on this. For those who don't know, Alphabet being the parent company of Google. Yep. The Alphabet subsidiary announced that although they were able to develop an AI to identify features of electroencephalography data that might be used for diagnosing depression and anxiety, they found that experts were not convinced of the clinical value of the diagnostic aid. How AI tools for diagnosing health conditions can improve medical care is not always well understood by those developing the AI. Oh, great. Therefore, I don't know what I'm doing, but I think it's going to be great.
I think they'll love it. They'll really love it. It's going to really revolutionize the industry.
The FDA will definitely approve this. Therefore, COVID-19 AI models must be developed in close collaboration with healthcare workers to understand how output of these models could be applied to patient care. And then it kind of goes on talking about flu season and such. But there you go. For the most part, like you mentioned, Gons, the climate change computer modeling that was done early on, that said the Earth was going to melt and float off into space in 2013, which now gives us to, I think, 2030 until we all die. Who knows? But has been plagued with problems with those computer models, of course. And so why not trust, a quote unquote world pandemic to the same types of technology?
Yeah. Later on in the article, it says here, I have a couple things highlighted. Sultan and colleagues are now planning clinical trials for deploying Curial AI within the existing clinical pathway at hospitals in the UK. The Lancet Digital Health strongly encourages researchers doing AI intervention-based clinical trials to follow the new extension guidelines, Spirit AI and
good.
Consort AI. Now, Spirit AI stands for Standard Protocol Item Recommendations for Interventional Trials Artificial Intelligence. So, very
sounds
convenient.
Legit.
Spirit AI. And AI could be the savior of the COVID-19 pandemic in the coming year. We just need to prove it.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is how science works.
This
allegedly.
is you remember the AI church? Like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, there was like an AI church up in Silicon Valley, and people are coming and doing worship services to the AI and stuff.
Yeah.
This is the type of thing where you use the language savior, and it just reminds me, and I can just picture some of those people, going into the church of AI and like, oh, great AI, save us from the pandemic. Bring your spirit here, and
right,
invoking all that kind of stuff, and then magically the AI provides solutions with their quantum internet. But anyway, I thought it was an interesting piece from the Lancet, of all places.
I know, and it's crazy because there was like this weird assassination of the Lancet earlier in the year just because they were questioning, official, quote unquote, official narratives that was trying to make everybody scared and keep them in their house.
Yeah.
Just by being a venue that scientists could publish scientific studies in. And yeah, the Lancet having just a pristine track record of just being a place that I'm saying the scientific community trusted up until suddenly they were letting scientists share info about masks and such.
Yeah. So very interesting. Let's move on here. This is part of the reset discussion.
Bitcoin go to moon. Reset this! Transhuman, make way for the Homo superior.
Oh, I forgot to show you something apart from that. Real quick, just to finish up, wrap up the AI thing. I got a little hasty on the trigger there.
Okay.
There's a video here. Watch an AI robot walk with a broken leg thanks to a brain that never stops learning. And basically, they came up with this AI with what's called Hebbian rules, Hebbian, Hebbian rules, mathematical formulas that allow AI brains to keep learning. So rather than their synaptic weight, the value dictating how activity spreads from one neuron to another remaining static, they change based on experience. And so they have these two AIs side by side here. They both have broken legs, apparently, these virtual AIs. One of them learns how to crawl and the other one falls on its back. And it's really kind of interesting. One of them, you can tell that one of his legs is down and he figures out a way to crawl away. And the other one's just waving his arms around.
Oh, perfect. That's just what we need.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. These AI that now learns from experience. So,
oh, great. Yeah.
Anyway, so the Great Reset, it's a thing. It's on everyone's mind. I'm going to play about a minute here, maybe less than that, maybe like 30 seconds from this Fox report before I go into this article from the NASDAQ of all places. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at what they're talking about.
Okay.
But here's Fox, and I don't know who is this. Lou Dobbs? I think it's Lou Dobbs. Okay, so here's a little intro on the Great Reset.
Elites attending the World Economic Forum in Davos, they're admitting that their annual meeting next year will be used to launch what they call the Great Reset Initiative. The forum saying, quote, "The time to rebuild trust and to make crucial choices is fast approaching as the need to reset priorities and the urgency to reform systems grows stronger around the world." Right. Joining us now.
Right. Like how he just goes, right.
Yeah.
Then he has he has a guy on that rails on China and stuff. But this article from the NASDAQ is very interesting. The headline is 2020 pitted Bitcoin against the Great Reset.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting discussion here. And this, I don't know if the author here, Nozomi Hayase, clearly Japanese here, maybe listens to the show or something. I mean, it's very interesting. Maybe not, because the conclusions he comes to are a little bit different from what we would suggest. But here's what it says. 2020 was unforgettable, especially for Bitcoin. To help memorialize this year for our readers, we asked our network of contributors to reflect on Bitcoin's price action, technological development, community growth, and more in 2020, yada yada. 2020 has become the year of pandemic. With face masks and quarantine becoming a new normal, the world has changed forever. In the escalation of the coronavirus outbreak, the U.S. Federal Reserve lowered its interest rate to near zero for the first time since the global financial crisis more than a decade ago. With lockdown measures creating job losses and the contraction of the economy, the government's response to COVID-19 revived the memories of the 2008 crash. Wall Street bank bailouts then created a large transfer of wealth. This now continues with the closing down of the economy, destroying mom-and-pop shops, while corporations like Walmart, Amazon, and Target are making record-breaking profit. Bitcoin, which was born in the ashes of economic meltdown, was a response to the corruption of financial institutions. Its white paper saw its 12-year anniversary this year. As the old system began to unravel, Bitcoin further unveiled its deeper value proposition. De-dollarization. The invention of Bitcoin made the separation of money and state possible for the first time in history. The cypherpunks' project of creating electronic cash free from a central authority quickly won the hearts of hackers and anarchists, recognizing Bitcoin as a new asset class akin to a non-confiscatable digital gold. Libertarians and venture capital came on board as well. Waves of early adopters of this technology have emerged on the margins of the U.S. empire, from Venezuelans and Iranians to WikiLeaks. The uncensorable free speech money became a safe haven for those who wished to escape hyperinflation, sanctions, and financial blockade. This year, the decentralized digital currency has welcomed new faces. Responding to the Federal Reserve's inflation policy, corporations and public companies have begun adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets to hedge against the U.S. dollar. In September, MicroStrategy became one of the first and largest NASDAQ-listed companies to embrace Bitcoin, purchasing over $425 million worth. This has created a ripple effect in the merchant network, bringing Square's Cash App and PayPal into the crypto space. And by the way, Michael, what was his name? Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy, I think he doubled his money already, and he bought even more Bitcoin. Like when he started talking about this whole thing of moving his capital into Bitcoin, Bitcoin was like $10,000 and now it's 20-something thousand. So within like 2 or 3 months, he literally doubled his like 400 million and made it $1 billion.
Yeah, that's crazy.
In the wake of the U.S. presidential election, Bitcoin's price exceeded its previous all-time high from the end of 2017 bull run. With S&P Dow Jones indices announcement of the launching of cryptocurrency indices in 2021, the Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance Company's purchase of $100 million in Bitcoin has continued to gain mainstream acceptance, making prosperous new headlines in mainstream media. The global reset. As the loss of confidence in the U.S. economy accelerates de-dollarization, leading global institutions have stepped forward. Halfway through the year, the World Economic Forum announced a plan to develop a great reset to emerge as a better world for the COVID-19 crisis. WEF, together with the the United Nations, business sectors, and civil society, aims to build the foundations of the economic system and institute a new social contract for a world population with the Internet of Things and use of advanced technology. In the announcement, Klaus Schwab, founder and executive chairman of WEF, stated that the goal is to create a fair and sustainable future, bringing our life into harmony with nature. You remember that quote?
Yeah, right.
The 500,
That's some Georgia Guidestones.
Guidestone stuff. International Monetary Fund Managing Director Christiana Georgieva, I don't know, who joined the initiative, articulated how the organization can help create, quote, a greener, smarter, fairer world. In October, Georgieva, oh my gosh, I'm totally butchering this name.
He's probably used to it.
Georgieva, I think it's a she. Kristalina solidified the IMF's role in the Great Reset, calling for a new Bretton Woods moment, referring to the arrangement originally made in 1944 to centralize the world's financial system with the U.S. dollar as reserve currency. The head of IMF urged international cooperation among the G20 to restructure sovereign debt. It is now preparing to roll out a central bank digital currency, CBDC, that has capability to monitor and trace transactions, linking them to personal IDs with a record stored in a massive database. This is also true with Facebook's Diem, formerly known as Libra. Transhumanism. See, this guy just keeps coming in with the goods.
Yeah, he's hitting all the...
I know. As international organizations seize the opportunity in the post-pandemic economy to reshape the world, defiance has emerged. Concerned citizens the world over have criticized the Great Reset as an effort to abolish personal ownership and property rights and undermine the sovereignty of nations and individuals. They see it as a dangerous move towards technocracy, creating a new digital empire with total surveillance and control. Great Reset opponents go even further to call it a war on human nature and an end goal of creating a future without humanity. The Global Reset is backed by billionaires, the British royal family, and politicians, including the Canadian Prime Minister and Joe Biden. It is said to be an effort to transform global food, the human diet, worldwide hunger and disease, even to combat climate change. The key idea behind this initiative is transhumanism. Klaus Schwab, founder and executive chairman of World Economic Forum, articulated in his book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution, that transhumanism is a process that brings radical change in our lifestyle, opening a new chapter in human development. He describes it as a vision toward a, quote, fusion of our physical, digital, and biological identity. Sorry, I messed that up. Fusion of our physical, digital, and biological identity. The global elites, with their patronage network of central banks around the world, create money out of thin air. With their fake money, they pump up fake news, fueling the resource wars. Through synthetic biology that takes genetic engineering to the next level, they alter nature and create fake food. Working with a machine learning algorithm, they are now trying to change human biology, making us all become artificial.
Yay!
This really sums it up. Metaphysical property. As the rise of AI and robots with their idea of merging with man and machines brings up existential questions for humans, narratives of Bitcoin have moved into philosophical discussion. From freedom maximalist Robert Breedlove to Gigi, I don't know who's Gigi. Anyway,
I don't know.
Who writes word and code for Bitcoin. I guess it's like a Bitcoin author. A gospel for a new era of individual sovereignty is being created. Michael Saylor, chief executive of MicroStrategy, which joined the Bitcoin Club this year, described money in terms of energies and notes how, quote, Bitcoin is channeling human ingenuity into making it better. Long before the ecosystem went cosmic with memes bringing in new frequencies, the host of a popular financial report, Max Kaiser, called Bitcoin's mysterious creator Satoshi a, quote, cyber Christ. Ugh.
Oh my gosh.
This year, Kaiser, together with Stacey Herbert, raised spiritual vibrations by launching their new Orange Pill podcast. Kaiser, whom Saylor called the High Priest of Bitcoin, they're going too far.
It's happening.
Noted, quote, God's fingerprints are all over Bitcoin, end quote, reacting to this new metaphysical dimension now being added to Bitcoin's price discovery. A Bitcoiner tweeted, it's got the tweet that I don't have because I got a whole bunch of blockers. Tapping into billionaire hedge fund manager Paul Tudor Jones, who recently said, quote, a bet on Bitcoin is a bet on human ingenuity. Kaiser acknowledged Bitcoin as pro-humanity working for humans. He then defined the next phase of Bitcoin battle as, quote, humans versus AI. The next phase of the Bitcoin battle is humans versus AI. Call for evolution.
Well, I could have told you that.
Yeah, I know. We're already in it to some degree. The new battlefield that is being drawn concerns the evolution of humanity. Aaron McCollum, in his 2013 book, The Pandemic, described that transhumanists aim to, quote, synthetically evolve the human race more rapidly than organic evolution allows, and to create post-human civilization, also referred to as Human 2.0. While the nation-state is being dismantled, creating chaos in the electoral arena, humanity is being locked down in a technologically driven path of evolution. The incumbent power, with its reliance on centralization, tries to keep all species in bondage. As the machine steadfastly taking over the living world, a new algorithm is arising that carries within it the book of nature. The innovation of computer science.
What?
Yeah, check it out.
Read that part again. Start that sentence again.
As the machine steadfastly takes over the living world, a new algorithm is arising that carries within it the book of nature.
What the heck?
The innovation of computer science, aligning human interests of all participants, has begun to secure the future of humanity. Recognizing a new community of shared purpose being formed around this open source software, crypto anarchist Eric Casson tweeted, I don't have the tweet there, probably something about that. Responding to the impulse for evolution is the protocol. People around the world from all walks of life are coming together. There are economists, gold bugs, computer programmers, mothers, rabbis, and entrepreneurs, all working to apply their own knowledge to solve problems. As the year 2020 comes to an end, Bitcoin, which has begun disrupting the power of central banks, giving humanity a chance to liberate themselves, soars to an all-time high. With Bitcoin, we can now opt out of the upgrade of mankind dictated by the few and self-determined and self-determine a user-activated path of evolution. We can all unite as humans and hodl our intrinsic values coded in our DNA. Now, the future is in the hands of ordinary people. A network consensus of each individual's chosen values builds blocks for a new civilization, defining what it means to be human.
Wow. Who wrote this? Who is the author of this?
Nozomi Hayase of
Okay.
Bitcoin Inc. or Bitcoin Magazine.
Yeah, wow. Bought in, man. Taking it to the next level. Is that a high priestess of the
he's working his way up.
Church?
He's working his way up. You know what it is? It's very fascinating because, you know, all the reasons why you and I like Bitcoin, they're taking it to that like extreme religious spiritual level.
Yeah, I mean, calling it, what did they call it? A digital Christ?
Yeah, Satoshi Nakamoto is a cyber Christ. That's Max Kaiser.
Jeez, wow.
And the thing that's really interesting is that, you know, all the people that are against the Great Reset, you know, all the stuff that's coming down the pike with technocracy and the Agenda 2030 and sustainable development and all that stuff, the fourth industrial revolution. It's interesting how these guys see it. You know, they totally see what's wrong with it. But then they're like, yeah, we'll take it into our own hands and Bitcoin is our savior vehicle. And it's like, whoa, have, it's the same sort of worldview, like technocratic worldview. Yes. But they hold basically the same values as they, talk about the, I forget who exactly they talk about, but they talk about the elites, technocratically harnessing the power of humans and moving us all into the new cyber heaven or whatever. But they kind of scathe the elites for that. But they hold the exact same values. They're just on a little bit more of a libertarian level. Yeah. They're like cyber libertarians. Yeah. Technocratic cyber libertarians. And this is what's fascinating. It's almost like the sentiment being shared here, by the way, on NASDAQ.com. This isn't like some random blog. This is NASDAQ. This itself is part of the Great Reset. It's almost like they don't see it. You know, this author doesn't see that they're creating their own reset. It's like we want our own human-driven reset, and that's really what it is. It's the elite reset versus the humanity reset, so to speak. Yeah, and and I've mentioned several times how Bitcoin is not a savior, and it's because I knew this type of not crazy, but just this type of fervor and cultish type of thing is going to arise out of the Bitcoin thing, which we know it already has, but I'm more so now that the two sides are shown, so to speak, the Great Reset side of things with the establishment and the billionaires and all that. And this is also, go ahead. I was going to say, reading this makes me understand the sort of hyper anti-Bitcoin spiritual sentiment. People that we encounter occasionally while doing this show. And I mean, some people are just like, and you can even boil it down to Bitcoin is the mark of the beast, that type of response. Right. But I mean, reading this particular article, I won't lay this over every Bitcoin owner or enthusiast, but this particular channel of Bitcoin enthusiasm takes it a little bit far. A messianic fervor, so to speak. Yeah, right. Calling people the high priest of Bitcoin. God's fingerprints are all over Bitcoin. Right. It's just digital currency. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not like, and yes, it does usurp a lot of the control mechanisms that central banks have. And that's why anarchists and libertarians were drawn to it early on, and cypherpunks, the way they described it. But it's almost like the Animal Farm, where they think that the pigs think that they're taking over. Whoever's next takes over. But then they're going to be the one sitting there on the throne, and they're going to create all sorts of problems as well. And this is also, I think this sentiment actually is part of the redistribution of wealth as part of the Great Reset I don't know, grandeur, not so much like proper with what the UN and the World Economic Forum are talking about, but just in general, the redistribution of wealth, because now you have guys with millions of dollars in their back pocket.
I would much prefer it to happen that way than the way Klaus Schwab wants it to happen.
Of course.
Put on a continuum. I like this idea better, but they don't. This interesting. You said this was on the NASDAQ website?
NASDAQ.com, yeah.
Wow, it's quickly becoming a sort of spiritual hub for more than just mammon.
Yes. And that, I mean, you talk about the mark of the beast and the vaccine and stuff, and I feel like this conversation is much more closer to what would look like a mark of the beast. Plus, in Revelation 13, if you read it, and this is based not so much on anything particular that we talked about in this article, but it does mention how the false prophet, the second beast, deceives the world, and the world builds the image of the beast. They're instructed to build it. So it's almost like empowering the people to build the image of the beast. And so it's something to keep in mind, because if you go into the crypto space and you look at some of the projects that have been created as not just Bitcoin, but Bitcoin sparked Ethereum, which is a whole different platform. And through Ethereum, a whole bunch of stuff has been created. And a lot of those have like very occult names for things and parts and pieces and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
well, much like the majority of the tech industry, or at least the successful tech industry coming out of Silicon Valley, they like to attach the sort of mythical names and references to their projects. Some of them because, I think some of them do it because they just think it sounds cool, but certainly those who are occult-minded know that there's a certain amount of power that comes from that.
Yeah, and once again, we're forced with sentiments like this going public to take the narrow path, and obviously we're obviously against the Great Reset, the way Klaus talks about. We did the Great Reset. We're not all about that, but this fervor, this like messianic fervor for Bitcoin is also not really in our wheelhouse either. So we have to tread carefully, Basil.
Yeah. Well, I think we're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on to one last thing. We got to check in with our Australian listeners, see how they're doing down there before we get on to the second half of the show.
It's got to be biblical.
I do have,
okay. This is Are you saying something over there?
Sorry, I'm trying to find my second part of the jingle here. Which here it is.
People don't even read their Bible, for heaven's sakes.
There it is.
For heaven's sakes. This is coming from abc.net.au. As churches prove fertile ground for conspiracy theories, some pastors are taking a stand. Do not question the authorities, Christians. Here we go. During the whirlwind of 2020, Sydney Reverend and radio host Bill Cruz has noticed a surge in an old foe within his flock: conspiracy theories.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, the old foe. Conspiracy theories. Anyway, by the way, for those who are new to the show, we like to check in with how different groups are perceiving those that they call conspiracy theorists and things like that. It's a good idea if you're a fringy type person exploring non-mainstream narratives of things. It's a good idea to keep tabs on how exactly they're talking about you. So let's keep going. Christian groups have long been susceptible to conspiracy theories, he says, but the rise of the internet and more recently COVID-19 has exacerbated the issue. Quote, churches can become petri dishes of this stuff, particularly if you've got really charismatic people who don't have any ethics, says Reverend Cruz.
Wait a minute, stop. Hold on.
Sounds like American politics to me.
How dare this man say that if you're charismatic, but then if you don't have any ethics, then you're into this stuff. This conspiracy
the narrative
theory slush.
building It's the narrative building to take the crosshairs and put them on anybody that questions the official narrative. It's not just, oh, you're crazy, or, oh, you have a different set of information than I do. It's, no, you don't have any ethics because you're questioning mainstream stories.
Yeah.
An interesting connection or interesting reference there he made to Petri dishes.
I know, yeah.
It's
conspiracy
not just
theories.
Yes, Petri dishes where you grow diseases and molds and things. This increased acceptance of conspiracy theories within church groups is part of a broader social trend, religious leaders say, as people turn to outlandish ideas to make sense of the times. But some pastors are taking active measures to fight the potential spread of conspiracy theories within their congregations. Take those active measures, pastors. The rise of the Church of QAnon. Here we go. Kaz Ross, a researcher at the University of Tasmania, has been monitoring the spread of conspiracy theories online. Hey, us too. And says evangelical Christians have been particularly drawn to QAnon.
That's his analysis. Real good stuff there, guy. From University of Tasmania.
Doesn't take a university professor to point this out.
Anyway, go on.
This theory purports that a figure called Q leaves cryptic clues on the internet forums about a war being waged between child-abusing global elites and figures within the Trump administration. Okay. Nothing too wrong with that explanation, I think. Some of them just get wild. Yeah, it's pretty succinct. At least they didn't say name Hillary Clinton as,
yeah,
the owner of a pizza restaurant. That's when you really know that outlet is not done there.
Oh, just wait. You're giving him too much credit too soon. Go on.
I'm just trying to give him credit where it's due, but we'll take it away. According to Dr. Ross, the suggestion that people should put their faith in a savior preparing to rescue the world from evil has similarities to some strands of evangelical thought. No kidding. Quote, it's a very parallel structure, he says. Quote, there are a group...
Get that pronoun right.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Uh-oh, I don't want to get canceled. Quote, there are a group of people that are in on a secret plan, which is very good, and the secret plan will save you in troubling times. Quote, the belief framework is that God has a plan. We don't know the plan. God will unfold the plan, and the chosen will be chosen. Marc-Andre Argentino, a researcher from Canada's Concordia University, has also been studying the connection between religion and conspiracy theories, focusing on the group of QAnon in North American evangelical groups. Not only do these churches broadcast QAnon conspiracy theories to huge online audiences, he says, they're also reimagining Christian beliefs from the Bible to marry the two ideologies. Oh, this is interesting. We've done some pointing out of this as well. In fact, he argues conspiratorial ideas have become so fundamental to the way these groups operate that they can be described as the QAnon church. That's a fun little rhetorical trick here.
Yeah.
They become so fundamental to the way these groups operate that they can be described. They can be described as the QAnon church. By who?
That's what I'm saying. This is what
describing them this way.
That's what I'm saying. This is what the researcher from from Canada's Concordia University said, and so it shall be.
I want to call it this because I'm an academic, and this sounds good to my other academics. Fringe voices, big impact. Ooh, is that us? What are they?
No.
Are you going to talk about us? No, okay. While these groups are largely an American phenomenon, similar thinking has taken hold in some fringe Christian communities. It's something that Pastor Bob Buckingham, the founder of Bayside Church in Melbourne, has noticed both on social media and conversations with friends. Quote, conspiracy theories are definitely more prevalent in recent times and are one of the symptoms of the pandemic.
Symptoms. It's a symptom of the pandemic.
Yeah, they continue to build this as a disease. Not questioning the mainstream narrative as a disease is the message so far. He says that Christians are more susceptible to some conspiracy theories because, quote, a futurist understanding of Bible prophecy has become very popular.
Stop.
Yes, I stopped.
Okay. A futurist understanding of Bible prophecy is literally what like the earliest church fathers had. If you read like the earliest church fathers, what they had about Bible prophecy was it's going to happen in the future.
Sure. So, the futurist idea of Bible prophecy versus a preterist view of Bible prophecy.
Yes, and even with the preterist view, there's a preterist, there's the historical view, and there are some people out there talking about Ribera, the Jesuit, who came up with the idea of futurists type of the future Antichrist to try to dispel the notion during the Reformation that the Catholic Church was the Antichrist, the Pope was the Antichrist. To try to reflect on that, he came up with the idea of the futurist understanding of biblical prophecy, but that's not entirely true. So anyway, it's a whole discussion and debate that happens amongst a lot of eschatologically educated folk. But
yeah, I do want to mention just in the chat here a fun little fact, Gons, that we should store away. Flippy Official mentions, Basil, we don't pronounce the O in Melbourne. It's more like Melbourne. So two things. It's called Melbourne. And the other thing, Flippy Official is from Australia. So good to know. Where was I? This interpretation leads Christians to be on the lookout for the Antichrist. No kidding. One world government. And a cashless society, he says. Not specifically mentioned in the Bible, but we do like keeping an eye out for that. Quote, they believe the devil is trying to take over the world. Yeah, okay.
Stop.
Okay.
People don't even read their Bible, for heaven's sakes.
Doesn't it say that the who is the ruler? Who's the prince of the power of the air?
Right. Yes.
So,
it's not the devil trying to take over the world.
He's not trying to take over. Anyway, go on. It just makes me angry.
Yes. He doesn't. Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying. Quote, seeing the world through such a lens causes them to be susceptible to anything that would indicate these things are imminent. No kidding. That's how the human brain works. Christian groups around the world have also been targets for Russian disinformation campaigns.
Those Russians.
Experts say, which may be exacerbating the impact and reach of conspiratorial ideas emanating from online pulpits.
Those clever Russians.
Those Russians, man, they're in our heads. James Durdurian, the director of the Center for International Security Studies at the University of Sydney, says, quote, snake oil has been around a long time, especially in time of insecurity and uncertainty, and foreign states have been known to capitalize on this. What exactly is he referring to as snake oil?
I think just
it's
all the
kind of a random
theories.
Little quote.
I think it's the conspiracy theories.
But how does conspiracy theories relate at all to the traditional metaphor of snake oil?
I don't know.
It doesn't at
false,
all.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. He is just talking, but he's a director for the Center of International Security.
What snake oil is calling everything Russian.
That 100%. That is, yep. I'll give you
everything's Russian. Don't worry. Everything we don't like is Russian disinformation. So just don't listen to the Russians and everything will be fine. While there is no evidence that Russia has targeted Australian Christian groups, Dr. Durdurian, that is literally his name, Dr. Durdurian, says that because social media is intrinsically borderless, the impact of misinformation destined for U.S. audiences can be far-reaching. Again, just a labyrinthian.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Wait, yes. Hold on.
Okay, let me read that again. Is just sort of like, you know what this reminds me of? It seems like he's just kind of waving a ribbon dancer around in this sentence. While there is no evidence that Russia has targeted Australian Christian groups, Dr. Durdurian says that because social media is intrinsically borderless, the impact of misinformation destined for U.S. audiences can be far-reaching. Okay, so what he's saying is, so what he's trying to say is Russian disinformation targeted at United States citizens is sort of wafting over to Australian Christians, sort of as a collateral damage or something. All right. Quote, this information is not a precision munition, but because of the very nature of social media, it can spread quite rapidly to other communities, he says. Let's see. I like
that word, precision munition.
Yes, I'm going to zoom through. There's still a little bit more, but I think it's important. Trusting the government. On Facebook, religious pages apparently based in Australia can attract thousands of followers. Alongside wisdom from saints and other holy imagery, one page shared claims that the coronavirus vaccine would encourage the Antichrist to take one soul. Encourage the Antichrist. This is very Antichrist. This is very encouraging. I'm going to take your soul. Meanwhile, some religious leaders are drawing support from anti-vaccination groups by using social media to speak out against lockdowns. Ann Kruger, the director of the Asia Pacific Bureau at First Draft, a nonprofit organization that studies misinformation, says religious leaders with conspiracy agendas do use social media to amplify their views. No kidding. But she cautions, quote, it's worth noting that they most likely represent fringe voices in their communities and do not reflect where their religion stands. Okay. Justine Toe, a senior research fellow at the Center for Public Christianity, points out that most Australian Christians are not conspiracy theorists. She points, well, contrary to what this entire article has been saying, but okay. She points to data from the National Church Life Survey, which surveys millions of Australian Christians, that indicates people who are more active in their faith and go to church regularly tend to be trusting of the government. Quote, yeah, right. I don't even know where to go. I think it kind of speaks for itself.
Yep.
Quote, whereas sometimes Australians might be a little bit critical of the government, people who go to church and tend to be more conservative and trusting in the government and the system, she says. Saving the faith. As the host of a popular Sunday night talkback program on Sydney radio station 2GB, Cruz has a unique insight into the thoughts and outlook of Australian Christians. He says there's been a shift this year to more conspiratorial thinking. I wonder why. Perhaps because they've been distanced from positive influences in their life. Oh, gosh. There's just bad influences. That's why they don't trust the government anymore. Quote, people feel isolated and have no way of sharing their innermost feelings, he says. Except for
all over social media.
The entire internet? What are you talking about? They have no way of sharing their innermost feelings. Instead of looking inward and emptying themselves out, they're looking to lay blame. Dude, I don't even know what this guy's saying anymore. This guy is making... It doesn't make any sense.
It's almost like he was tasked to write, like, hey, just, you got to bash the conspiracy theorist Christians. Just here, write something. And
instead of looking inwards and emptying themselves out, like we usually do, looking to lay blame, which we've never done. What the heck are you saying, Cruz? Pastor Buckingham says Christian leaders should be reaching out to those who might be susceptible and trying to help them navigate misinformation. I think we all should do that. There's a lot of important reasons we should all be reaching out and helping people navigate misinformation. Quote, ask questions, stay in touch with people so they don't isolate themselves.
Okay, wasn't it the government that told everybody to isolate and stayed locked down? What are you talking about?
You want them to isolate? You don't want them to isolate. Make up your mind. Ask questions. Stay in touch with people so they don't isolate themselves, and try to talk about other things to bring them out of their tunnel vision, he says. That I can agree with. We do need to keep not get too focused on the bad stuff. But his regular blog posts, which attract thousands of readers from with Christian communities, have been part of his response. He's also using the Bible to actively decry ideas like QAnon. For example, he points to Ephesians 4:25, quote, so stop telling lies. Let us tell our neighbors the truth. Okay. For Cruz, it's important that churches give people the same sense of belonging they are finding in the murky forums of the internet. Quote, the church has a responsibility to squash itself down so it ceases being obsessed with power and control and money and gets back to being with the people. The church has a responsibility to squash itself down so it ceases being obsessed with power, control, and money and gets back to being with the people. Well, there's something I think we can all agree on.
So,
I'm not sure what that has to do with conspiracy theories.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what is this? Okay, so my brain is like melting.
To follow this guy.
Yeah, because he's saying the whole article is saying all these the conspiracy theorists and Australian Christians has risen tremendously. It's a problem. And then they get an expert that says, actually, most Christians are not conspiracy theorists in Australia.
They're not. It's really not that big a deal.
And then this guy's like, what the church needs to do is stop focusing on power, control, and money and get back with the people. And then, but the government,
agreeable statement. Okay. But it has nothing to do with conspiracy theories. Okay. The whole thing ends with, it's all about people communicating with each other. You are correct on that point. My God.
Not like this article, which communicates complete nonsense and confuses people like us that are trying to deconstruct what the heck you're talking about. I mean, this is like, honestly, Joey Watson. Come on, buddy. You can do better. I know you can do better. I'm not bashing him. I'm saying you can do better. I think he was just tasked with an end result, and he just had to write an article.
And this is what we always point out. The problem with articles like this is they're so obviously written by somebody who has had no experience, A, in the church, and B,
world.
I wouldn't even call it conspiracy world, just non-mainstream thinking.
Yeah, non-mainstream thinking.
And it's a totally what it does. They always inaccurately portray the people they're trying to explain. They embarrass themselves by inaccurately portraying different conspiracy theories, and then they just sort of jumble together. They always find someone like a pastor or this or that, someone in authority, and just pull a bunch of random quotes that don't connect. It's like they did an interview with this pastor about something else, and just pulled a bunch of quotes from it.
Hey, you want to say something about conspiracy theories? Because got to write a paper on it. And
no, I don't. But I do want to tell you that the church should squash itself down and stop thinking about money and power. And okay, sure, I can shoehorn that comment in somewhere in this article.
Okay. So anyway,
all right. That's what I got.
To our friends down under, keep the faith.
Yeah, keep the faith. And all right. Okay, well, I think that does it for the first half. Should we take a quick little break? Do.
Yes.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Okie dokie, folks. We're going to take a really quick break, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, big news about the Pope. You may have seen it. Yeah, but we're going to be talking about the Pope and his post-Christmas plans, which shocked me, and I thought it was fake at first, but there's some credible stuff to look at. Mostly just Pope, Space Pope Reptilian, all sorts of stuff.
Little pandemic special stuff.
Yes, a little bit of pandemic special and relatively Pope related. So
yeah, mostly Pope.
We'll get to that. So don't go anywhere, but real quick, we are going to, start out by thanking some of our producers for today's show, which is episode 280 of Canary Cry News Talk. And just double checking this. Yep. Okay. And that's right. I said producers. That's because we are on the value for value model, folks. And what does that mean? Well, you'll notice that you did not have to skip through 4 ads at the beginning of this show, because we have thrown off the shackles of advertising as a monetization strategy. And yes, we get all sorts of criticism for that. But the problem is, you saw the social dilemma. You've been on Facebook lately. You've used Amazon. You know all the problems. All pretty much all of the major problems with the internet and therefore the world stem from advertising. Big data, it's because of advertising. Privacy concerns, it's because of advertising. Advertisements, it's because of advertising.
Yeah.
Really, the advertising industry has sabotaged the beautiful thing we like to consider, well, we like to call the internet.
Well, one of the things, before you go on, just real quick,
Sure,
I did have a couple clips here.
Yes, I want to hear them.
Yeah, from the Ben Shapiro show. And I mentioned this a few episodes ago, but I was checking out Ben Shapiro's show, seeing what he's talking about, and the transitions that he has to take to go into the ad space are pretty cringy.
I know the clip you're talking about.
So I will play. This is Ben Shapiro talking about the importance of the elections and Joe Biden, how he's being portrayed in the media, and transition into
Let's hear it.
The advertisement.
As we will see, there are some questions to be brought about just how much of a friend to democracy and freedom of the press Joe Biden is. And meanwhile, the media continue to craft that narrative in just 1 second. First, let us talk about the fact that everybody loves waffles. Everybody loves waffles.
Great. I can totally take you seriously now.
Everybody loves waffles.
That's not sped up, folks. That is real time. I can't even talk that. Everybody loves waffles.
Fast talkers themselves.
Everybody loves waffles.
Everybody loves waffles. I can't even do that.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody
loves waffles.
Everybody loves waffles.
Oh my God, that's talent. What a talented
guy. Yep. Anyway.
So there you go, folks. Advertising is not only responsible for the privacy concerns, big data, all of the nasty stuff that comes along with Facebook and Instagram and other social media things, but also for ruining great points and, in my opinion, taking away the credibility of some otherwise pretty fast for some pretty fast talkers. And the fact of the matter is that in order to break away from these chains of advertising, it's a group project. We all have to do our part, and our part is refusing to do advertisements. It's got us some criticism from some colleagues. We've had to turn down some pretty big advertising. What is the word I'm looking for? We've been approached. Opportunities, yes. With some big advertising deals, and it's just not cool, man. We all gotta, if we want to see the change in the internet space, we all have to participate in it. And that's why we're on the value for value model, which means you are not subject to weird transitions into advertisements, nor are you subject to us mining all of your data and selling it off to advertising firms like a bunch of cattle. You're not a commodity. You're a human being. At least at this show you are. And so instead, we're on the value for value model, which means we create some value. We do it pretty consistently, and we like to think we do a good job. And if the media is worth anything to you, you have the opportunity to become a producer and support the media that you enjoy. Don't let some advertising company put a price tag on the media that you love and respect and trust. That's up to us to put the value on what we do. And so that's part of what we do. We let our producers put the value on this media, and that'll tell us how we're doing. So one way to do that is go to patreon.com/CanaryCryNewsTalk.
CCNT.
Nope, CCNT. Patreon.com/CCNT. It's a pretty easy way to do it. And we have one upgrading producer over there, and that is from producer Livrin. Thank you very much, producer Livrin, for the upgrade. It's hard enough to get new producers. It's even harder to get producers to upgrade. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, if you don't like Patreon, that's okay. There's a lot of reasons not to like Patreon, but that's why we have CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
That's right. And over there at canarycryradio.com/support, we have PayPal options, monthly producerships, or if commitment is not your thing, one-time producerships in any amount you like. We also have cryptocurrency and things like that as well. And let's all stand up and hear a rousing round of applause for our PayPal producers who help keep this show going. We couldn't do without them. Gons, who's coming in on the PayPal?
We got a good handful today. First off, Eli P. Thank you, Eli.
Thank you very much, producer Eli.
And next up, we have producer Saul A. coming in again. Thank you, producer Saul. You're coming in almost like every episode.
Third episode in a row, I think there, producer Saul. Thank you very much.
And next up, I want to mention, let's do this not in order. Producer Charlie. Thank you, producer Charlie.
Yes, thank you very much, producer Charlie.
She came in with $33.33 just to trigger everybody.
Yeah.
And she said, Mary, Mary, quite contrary. How does your guardian grow? Happy, happy, make it snappy. Don't eat yellow snow. Happy whatnot, you one-horse ponies. And that'll make sense in a moment.
One-horse ponies.
That will make sense in just a moment as we
producer Charlie, thank you.
Play a clip from something. But yes, thank you, producer Charlie, for that. Did I give her a gong?
A gong?
Yeah,
give her another gong.
I'll give her another one here. Also, producer William Steele.
William Steele, acclaimed jewel thief. He's actually was in the chat today. It's been a while since I've seen him in there. Yeah. So thank you very much, producer William Steele.
The jewel thief mentioned by the...
he snitched on Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes, Maxwell. There you go. And he sent a note. William Steele sends his best regards. Thank you for that.
Yes. And it didn't make it into our note here, Gons, but it said William Steele sends his best regards, and then he had some jewel emojis.
And
a little winky
some
emoji.
bling bling.
Yes, so
all right.
He's been robbing the queen again, I think.
Oh, very good. Very good. Just don't tell anybody about it. Next up, we want to thank producer Susan D.
Oh, thank you very much, producer Susan. Very generous.
Susan, very generous coming in. No note. Oh, no, there's a note.
There's
Dear
a note.
Face. With many thanks and much love.
Thank you very much, producer Susan.
Is that to you, Basil? Face, or is that like face like the sun?
I thought it was referring to face like the sun.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, but I mean, you have a whole face situation going on there too. So
that's true. We both have faces. We do have that in common.
And last but not least, producer Kyle C. Thank you so much, Kyle. And this makes Kyle C. a knight.
Yeah, producer Kyle made it to knighthood. Yeah. For those who don't know, we have the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where over any amount of time, if you help produce the show in the amount of $1,000 or more, you become a knight of the Canary Cry Roundtable. So we'll be knighting Kyle, producer Kyle rather, when we get all of his information. So that'll be very fun. He might, depending on how snappy he is at getting us his info, he might be the first night of 2021 or the last night of 2020.
Oh, yeah, interesting. Yeah. And
I just want to mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I do want to mention a comment that's in the chat here because it just made me feel good. So I wanted to say it. This is from Storm Rider over on YouTube. He says, if we believe Basil and Gons are doing God's work as the church, they should get our financial support. They are remaining apart from the world, appealing to the church for support doing God's will. That's very sweet.
Very
Thank
nice.
you, Storm Rider. You get it. You understand. That's also, we agree. I mean, it's always kind of weird, especially part of the reason why content producers love advertising is they don't have to ask for money, which is an uncomfortable thing. You know, it kind of takes away the responsibility to ask for support and takes away the responsibility of listeners to support something. And I really liked what Storm Rider said here. If we believe Basil and Gons are doing God's work That's totally true. I mean, if you don't think we are doing God's work, then I don't think you should really support us. But if you do think we are doing God's work, then that makes me feel better about the support we receive, because it's not just willy-nilly people throwing, change in a can. What it is they're supporting, what God is doing through us, hopefully.
Amen. So we don't have to do this.
Everybody loves waffles.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, I think I love the value for value model. It's the right thing for us to do. But if we were advertising, I think I would have a lot of fun reading those ad reads.
I'm sure.
I could see me going from, oh my gosh, and that's why, Biden is going to war with China, and we knew it all along. Speaking of which, everybody loves waffles. Let me.
What's really funny is the comedian Bill Burr. It's for people, the older people, that because he's got a potty mouth, but. If you look on YouTube, there's clips of him doing reads where he lost the sponsor because he would be reading this
on a podcast or something.
On his own podcast, he's reading these ads and he just bashes on the company. Doesn't even you can tell he doesn't believe in the product or whatever. He goes after him. It's pretty funny. There's some funny stuff in there.
Yeah, that's fun.
But I wanted to mention producer Kyle. He had been giving incrementally like $5 at a time from the beginning of the year. And so thank you so much, producer Kyle, for your consistency, along with all the other producers who have been consistent with the monthly support. And but this knighthood thing, just he went in big for Christmas, and he just did.
He crossed the line. Thank you very much, producer Kyle. Very meaningful.
Yeah. So thank you to all the producers from the producers that provide their treasure. We also have producers that help produce the show in other ways with their time and talent. And first up, we want to thank producer Charlie, Epony Blaze. She actually sent in a picture to go along with it here. Let me pull it up real quick. And this is from the speech we covered earlier in the episode. And I'm going to go ahead and she isolated the end of the Biden speech, where Biden's walking off the stage. I'm just going to go ahead and pull it up here. And He says something very interesting, which will make sense of the note we got from producer Charlie as well. So he's finishing up his talk. It's kind of hard to hear exactly, but you'll get the gist here. Can you hear that, Basil? Is it too quiet?
Barely.
Yes. God love you, man. You're a one-horse pony. I tell you.
Yes. God loves you, man. You're a one-horse pony.
Totally on its own.
So basically what happened was Biden was asked about Hunter's situation there on his way out. Like, he was walking off the stage, and and so Biden had to respond, and his response was, "Hey man, you're a one-horse pony." Do I have it here? Yeah. I think I have it.
God love you, man. You're a one-horse pony.
A little low on volume, but
yeah, man, that'd be nice to get a really clean ISO of that.
Yeah, I might have to work on that just to have.
Was he trying to say you're a one-trick pony?
I think he was trying to say one-trick
about
pony.
Hunter. You only talk about Hunter.
Yeah, one-trick pony, but he's
you're a one-horse pony. You're a one-horse pony, dog-faced pony horse soldier.
Oh man, yes.
Everybody loves waffles.
Yeah, everyone loves waffles. And yes, the edits are very subtle on the artwork of Joe Biden here. This is Joe Biden from his Delaware speech, and there's a quote: "God love you, man. You're a one-horse pony." And
it took you a second,
subtly.
Gons.
It did. I didn't see it. There's a couple things. One, there's like is that Baphomet horns in the logo instead of the eagle. So. And instead of Office of the President-elect, it says Office of the President-select.
Ooh, got him.
Very subtle. Very subtle. Good job on that one. So thank you, producer Charlie Epony Blaze. Next up, we have our our prolific artist, producer Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
And she sent in...
No, Allie.
I'm sorry, Allie, Charlie. I'm getting all mixed up. Producer Allie coming in with a drawing of Basil looking swole.
This is great, man. Our artists make me feel so good about myself. This is referring to a reference I made, or a quote from last episode. I'm getting swole, but I still have that layer of pizza wrapped around my body, referring to my fitness goals for 2020. And she's got me there. Look at those arms, Gons. Aren't you jealous? I'm holding 2 platters of water jugs above my head, again referring to my retail trickery when I was able to buy all these water products from my grocery store that wanted to limit me to 2 bottles of water, but I got them. And then wrapped around my middle there is just a giant slice of pizza, which is how I feel, and I think it's a pretty good look.
Yeah, this is like easy fodder for the Pizzagate conspirators to really come after you.
Yeah, that's okay. I got. I eat so much actual Italian pizza.
Yeah.
That it's just become a part of me now.
Yeah, you are what you eat.
Ooh,
like waffles.
Wow, it's like everybody loves waffles.
Everyone loves waffles. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you very much, producer Allie. Gaslin Bond's in the chat there.
Yes, and next up we have producer Josiah, who came in with, we had talked about creating our own, what was it, not the World Economic Forum, our own like Bilderberg group type thing. What was it?
Yes, I was trying to remember. I made a big deal about it during the show. I think the actual thing was Earth Legislative Coalition was our club we were going to start, and just it had such a fancy name that people were going to start listening to us. I think Josiah has a different acronym here, but that's okay. You know, we're just kind of workshopping it. And I was describing our logo, where we would have an Ouroboros type of brontosaurus creature surrounding a hollow earth. He's got WLOC, which I'm going to guess means World Legislative Orthopedic Coalition.
Office of Canarians.
Oh, that might be it. Yeah, you might need to send us that acronym, Josiah. But you sent us in a couple versions of this. Yeah, this is good. We're workshopping it.
We got one with the Ouroboros and then the hollow earth. It looks kind of like a light bulb.
Yeah.
And then we got another one, more of the UN style, like a flat hollow earth imagery.
Yeah.
With the dragon.
I like this one. I'm waiting for it to come up on the stream so I can see it. Is this the one in color? Ah, yes, there it is. Yes, it's got the classic diagram of the hollow earth.
You're talking about this one. You're talking about the Agartha? The Agartha map?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But very good. Thank you, producer Josiah. We are on our way to starting our own World Economic Forum type club, where if we just keep posting crazy stuff on the internet, eventually people will start listening to us.
We're just going to put out a guideline, a new guideline that everyone should follow, and all that fun stuff. Yep. Okay. So thank you to all the artists, and thank you to Jade Bouncerson for the timestamps. Appreciate that.
Yes, that's producer Charlie.
I know.
I think we should just start saying it's producer Charlie. It's less confusing.
All right. I don't know.
Yeah.
She might want to keep her anonymity with all her.
Well, we already gave it away, but yeah. I think she said, I don't remember. Shoot. Let us know how you want us to do that. Yes. So thank you for the timestamps over there on YouTube. After the show goes off being live, there will be timestamps where you can jump around the show topic by topic. And if you share the show, it makes it easier for new people to kind of find a topic they want to listen to without having to listen straight through or scrub or whatever. Another thing to mention, Canary Cry merch perch. Canary Cry merch perch. That's right. Canary Cry Merch Perch, a producer run. Gons and I don't run it. It's a producer Dust runs it. Thank you very much. It's the place to get all your Canary Cry merch. There's hats, shirts, bags, mugs, all the good stuff you want. A lot of it has producer created art on it, which is so wonderful. And right now they have the 2021 Canary Cry calendar up for pre-order, and it's only $20. So that's definitely something you should get in on. It's a calendar that has all sorts of weird Canary Cry based, not holidays, but points of interest throughout the year. Oh shoot, I don't have them in front of me, but I should pull them up next time.
Yeah,
things
the
like
National Cat Day, opening of the Georgia Guidestones, Gout Awareness Day, just to name a few.
It's a great Canary Cry radio themed calendar that'll keep you on schedule for all of 2021. And everything sold at Canary Cry Merch Perch is sold at cost to keep it as cheap as possible for Canarians. But you do have the opportunity to tip the webmaster, the artist, or Gons and myself. And please do that. The artists deserve support as well. And producer Dust has costs associated with running the website. So that helps him out a lot as well. Okay, I think that's it, Gons.
That's it. Let's get back.
Yes, it's wake-up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Space Pope Reptilian.
Yeah, time to just jump right in, Gons.
Jump right in. Ooh, North London shooting. Reports of shots fired at Woodgren business premises. That's not good. Express.co.uk. Pope could resign after Christmas as Francis vowed to follow Benedict. Oh, I haven't done Roman numeral 16th. Yeah. Benedict the 16th. Pope Francis could step down before the end of the year, according to a source close to the Vatican, who previously speculated that the pontiff could resign in 2020. The 83-year-old became head of the Catholic Church following the resignation of Pope Benedict XVI, a controversial move and the first of its kind in more than 500 years. I feel like I'm doing that wrong. XV1.
XV1 is 16.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, I'm good. Yeah. However, a source close to Pope Francis claimed he would only serve for 7 years, stating he would follow in the footsteps of his predecessor. Austin Ivere is the former director for public affairs of the previous Archbishop of Westminster, Cardinal Cormac Murphy O'Connor, and continues to work closely with the Vatican. He said in 2015, quote, "He made clear from the beginning that he regarded Pope Benedict's act as a prophetic act of great modesty, and he would have absolutely no problem in doing the same." Continued quote, "What was interesting was he said to Mexican television in 2014 that he believed that he would have a short papacy of about 5 years. What I'm hearing now from people close to him is that he's going to need 7 years to achieve his 5-year plan, and that, of course, would mean staying on until 2020. Speaking in a lengthy television interview with the Mexican program Noticieros Televisa, the pontiff responded to a question from journalist Valentina Alazraki about the length of his papacy. He said, quote, "I have the feeling that my pontificate will be brief. 4 or 5 years. I don't know. Or 2, 3. Well, 2 have already passed." Okay. Little just 2, 5, 4, whatever.
Whatever they tell me.
It's like a little vague feeling, but I have the feeling that the Lord puts me here for a brief thing and not more. Continuing on the theme, Miss Alazraki asked the Pope, then 79, about the idea of resigning at 80. He responded, quote, "I believe that the papacy has something of a last instance. It is a special grace. I am not of the idea of putting an age on it, but I am of the idea of what Benedict did. If the comments are anything to go by, then the Pope will retire in the next 2 weeks, but he is committed to several events for the next few days during one of the most important periods of the Christian calendar, Christmas, as billions celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ," with their creepy nativity scene there with Darth Vader. "Francis will mark the occasion with the Vatican's traditional midnight mass on Christmas Eve, but will begin the liturgy at 7:39 p.m. local time so that the few people invited to attend can get home in time to observe Italy's 10 p.m. curfew. Hey. And the Pope's Christmas blessing, Urbi et Orbi, to the city and the world will be given as usual at noon on Christmas Day from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. Therefore, he would be left with a window of less than a week if Mr. Ivoray's predictions from 2015 is anything to go by. In their announcement of his festive plans, the Pope's next event does not fall until December 31st, 2020, which is an address from the St. Peter's Basilica to thank God for the past year. Oh, geez, that's going to be a good one. However, the writer also said the Pope's comments should not be taken as fact. He added in 2015, quote, "He knows he's in the hands of God, and so none of this is predictable. You can look at it two ways. I mean, politically, you could say it is quite clever because he is also signaling to those people who do want to see a change in the church that there isn't much time. He's putting salt on the tail of everyone saying, we need to get this done, so I think you can take his plan both ways. Some of his opponents are waiting for him to go, and they will be encouraged by this. At the age of 79, we are talking here about him stepping down in his 80s in the year 2020. There aren't many men, frankly, who are capable physically, let alone mentally, of leading a massive institution with all the demands that the papacy brings." Speaking to Express.co.uk recently, Mr. Ivory said a lot had changed since his comments 5 years ago. He added, quote, "Pope Francis no longer speaks to his papacy as a short papacy, and 7.5 years on from his election, it is clear he is staying on. This is a pope in full flow with a reform program that is being implemented with vigor. Next year, 2021, he will publish his new redesign of the Vatican and replace a large number of key appointees. He will also be visiting Iraq in March. In many ways, the COVID crisis has breathed new life into this pontificate. He has a clear mission now to lead humanity through this dark night into a bright future."
Ooh. So this all came from a guy talking in 2015.
Yep.
This isn't even a recent.
No, his recent comments seem to suggest that he's not stepping down.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's interesting because I didn't catch that at first, that he was talking about that this all came from a 2015 thing. That's interesting because what a weird time to announce it. Like, if it's been around since 2015 and you just announce it 2 weeks before the year is over, well, a week now.
Yeah, that it is a weird time to publish the article and make this, I don't know.
Because it was published on the 22nd, right?
23rd.
Let me double check. Yeah, 23rd. What is that? That's today. That's today. Gosh.
Well, yesterday in the Italies there.
Yes, right.
But yeah, I mean, it is weird. And how interesting how the COVID crisis, allows him to implement more. It's almost like, oh, I'm going to quit. And they're like, wait, Pope. We will release.
The aliens aren't back yet.
They're not here yet. We will release the virus to stall some time. And then he went, oh, yes.
You can't step down until the alien Pope gets here.
Yeah. And I had some notes about the alien stuff just because that's the first thing I know you thought of, that all the aliens are here. If the Pope steps down, it means aliens.
Despite Trump promising to release aliens, despite Israeli space security chief saying there's aliens, despite all the alien talk, the thing that made me actually wonder if disclosure was here was the Pope planning to step down. If the Pope steps down and makes way for aliens, that's a dead ringer for me.
Yeah, and this book that I'm holding in my hand here, Petros Romanus, written by Tom Horn and Chris Putnam, this book actually predicted that this Pope, according to the prophecies of Saint Malachi, the prophecy of the popes, this Pope is the last Pope.
Right.
So it would be interesting to see if he does step down, what happens. And in those prophecies, I think Rome burns down or something. Like it catches on fire, or like something a comet hits it or something like that. So it's all going to crumble, which maybe they'll say it was metaphorical as part of the Great Reset. But just because you had that alien mind, not alien mind, but like alien on the mind, there's word aliens.
Aliens.
I wanted to just real quick give you a couple headlines here. phys.org, an updated way to calculate the likelihood of the existence of extraterrestrial civilizations. So they have this new calculation here. And I thought it was pretty funny because the people who came up with it, a small team of researchers from California Institute of Technology, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and Santiago High School.
What?
California Institute of Technology, NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and Santiago High School.
Why is a high school included?
I don't know. But they're a part of the research team. That came up with this new.
Some pretty smart high schoolers,
I guess. The team has uploaded their paper to the RXIV preprint server. Basically, the idea is that it's kind of interesting because all they're doing is, hey, whatever data you have about the universe, plug it in there, and then you'll get your results of what kind of probabilities based on your information, your data, that there's aliens out there. So it's really not even a really good thing, or a good methodology, so to speak. It's kind of like, okay, all right, garbage in, garbage out.
Sure. Yeah.
This is the Irish, thesun.ie. Dead space, Milky Way likely littered with dead alien civilizations.
Sounds likely.
And scientists know where to find them.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, great.
And this study also references the ARXIV database. I think they're talking about the same algorithm, basically, that they published here.
Right.
And yeah, they're just suggesting that based on their data, the aliens are scattered all over dead in the Milky Way. just a whole bunch of dead aliens.
Dead aliens everywhere.
Everywhere. And then lastly, this is dailymail.co.uk. Former CIA boss John Brennan says it's, quote, presumptuous and arrogant to think humans are alone in the universe, as he talks about recent declassified UFO videos. Trying to stay relevant there after stepping down from the CIA there, Brennan. But there you go. Those are some alien headlines.
Okay, there we go.
No Pope yet, unless the Pope is resurrecting the billions of dead aliens across the Milky Way. I don't think he's stepping down quite yet.
Well, I got some pandemic special Pope adjacent news here for you.
A pandemic special.
Okay, I'm going to come over from the NewYorkDailyNews.com headline: 2 Cardinals close to Pope Francis have tested positive for COVID.
Oh, no.
Ooh. Uh-oh. Is Pope Francis a super spreader? 2 Cardinals close to the Pope, who is considered at risk, are confirmed to have coronavirus. Konrad Krajewski, the 57-year-old Polish cardinal who runs Pope Francis's charities, tested positive for COVID-19. Vatican spokesman Matteo Bruni said Tuesday, Channel News Asia reports. Channel News Asia. Okay. Governor of Vatican City and Italian Cardinal Giuseppe Bertello has also tested positive, according to a Vatican source. Bertello is believed to be self-isolating at his home in the Vatican. Very suspicious.
He's meeting the aliens.
And Krajewski, who also boasts the nickname of the Pope's Robin Hood for the work he does with the poor and the homeless, has displayed symptoms of pneumonia. He's currently hospitalized in Rome. Whether either man attended Monday's event, which saw the Vatican's central administration and Pope Francis, 84, exchanging Christmas greetings, remains unknown. It should not remain unknown. That seems like something you got to get the contact tracers in there. Vatican City intends to inoculate residents and staffers early next year. Andrea Arcangeli, head of the Vatican's health services, said earlier in December. Oh, so they're not even first in line for the vaccine. Have you heard of any other countries besides the UK and the United States vaccinating?
I thought so.
I thought I saw maybe some Australians getting vaccinated.
I thought Italy too, but I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. As As he had part of one of his lungs removed as a young man following pleurisy, the Argentinian Pope is considered high risk for coronavirus. Oh my gosh! Did you know that the Pope Francis only has half a lung or one lung?
I did not know that.
That's a new detail. Krajewski and Bartello are not the first people close to the Pope to have contracted the disease, which has killed over 69,000 in Italy. Filipino Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, who heads the missionary arm of the Vatican, tested positive in September. He's self-isolated and is now believed to be doing fine. When COVID-19 first swept through Italy, the first Western nation to experience its wrath, in the spring of this year, over a dozen Swiss Guard contracted the virus, as did an individual living in the guest house where the Pope lives. Wow. There's been a whole lot of coronavirus around the Pope. Actually, I think he is a super spreader.
He might be. And actually, now that I think about it, I think we did. It was brief that we covered this one lung thing with the Pope.
Did we? Okay.
At some point, yeah. But
it did not get put in permanent storage in my brain.
Yeah, I found some trails of the memory in my brain there, but
good.
Yeah, so
there you go. That's it. Speaks for itself.
Do you think? What do you think? What's going to take out Pope Francis? Is it going to be virus,
resigning, or virus?
Aliens? No, we'll do 3: resigning, virus, or aliens.
Okay, it might be all 3.
It might be all three at the same time.
Yeah, could be. Okay, another little update here from the lastamericanvagabond.com.
Let me do this one because I had some highlights here.
Okay.
But this is the Last American Vagabond. Another flawed data model from Imperial College to blame for latest UK lockdown. And so basically we heard about the mutation in the UK, right?
Right.
Well, this article outlines the problems with that whole concept. Got some stuff highlighted here to get through it quickly because it's kind of a long article. Okay. It says here, according to the BBC, Johnson, it's UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, Johnson's assertion that a new variant, quote, may be up to 70% more transmissible was based on the information discussed the day prior by the UK government's new and emerging respiratory virus threats advisory group, or Nerve Tag. They're called Nerve Tag.
Nerve Tag. Cool.
Yet, as the BBC notes, this figure apparently comes from a single source, a 10-minute presentation delivered by Dr. Eric Vols of Imperial College given last Friday, the same day as the Nerve Tag meeting. Vols, a close colleague of the discredited Neil Ferguson, delivered the presentation to COVID-19 Genomics UK, or COG UK, a research consortium largely funded by the UK government and the Wellcome Trust, and in particular the Wellcome Sanger Institute. I wonder if that has to do with Margaret Sanger there. The Wellcome Sanger Institute recently came under fire for, quote, misusing the DNA of Africans to develop a, quote, gene chip without proper legal agreements.
Whoa, what?
And an upcoming Unlimited Hangout report, this is the Unlimited Hangout show, will detail the ties of the Wellcome Trust to the UK eugenics movement, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. And let me go on here. Vols repeatedly downplays the quality of COG UK's sampling and, by extension, the validity of the model used to justify the 70% figure, raising obvious questions as to why Boris Johnson would cite the figure so prominently and use it to justify draconian lockdown measures during the holiday season, as well as the arbitrary creation of a new, more extreme lockdown tier. So, yeah, this guy Vols, basically the source of all of this mutation talk, is the guy himself says, like, and you know, the article goes on to document all this, but he goes on to say, like, yeah, the data is not really clean. It could be a problem.
Is this a computer model? Is this an AI model?
No, I think it's like, well, it could be, but I think they have the strand of the virus. And so maybe it is a computer model. I don't know. It talks about it here. Let me see. It says here, After noting the limited nature of the data set of N501Y, which is the name of the virus there, Vols, or the strain, Vols stated that, quote, the growth in cases for the new strain does appear to be larger. He then quickly adds the caveat that, quote, trends you see early on don't always pan out. You need to let more data accumulate. Vols then goes on to compare the transmissibility of A222V and N501Y regarding the model used to determine A222V's transmissibility. Vols states that, quote, model fit is not particularly good, given that, quote, there are lots of outliers early on and there are lots of outliers quite late. He concludes that, quote, we wouldn't expect that a logistical growth model is necessarily appropriate in this case. However, he uses this, quote, not necessarily appropriate model of a poor fit to compare to the new strain. Scrolling through here later on in the presentation, Vols states that the data provided by COG UK was both, quote, non-random and very noisy sampling, bringing into question not only the limited amount of data in terms of time, but also the quality of that data. So just in short, the guy who presented the data, the 70%, has all these caveats. You know, it's almost like, you know, he said, oh, this new strain is 70% more infectious, but the data is kind of noisy. We don't have all the information in yet. But Boris Johnson ran out the door before he can say any of the caveats and announce to the entire country that we need to lock down 70%. You know what I mean? So
are we supposed to take from this that there is not a new strain, or there is, and we just don't know the details, or what's the take from this?
I think the take is that there could be a new strain, but I thought these things mutate all the time.
They do. So I mean, it was like a month or two in, and we already were reporting 40 new strains or variants.
Right. So the fact that they must have just gotten a strain that's different, and maybe it infected a few people in the vicinity, and
they're just using it as a reason to lock everything down, even though everybody's getting vaccinated.
Yes. So I just really think it's egregious here, and the Last American Vagabond here outlines it pretty well, and all the resources and documents are there. Links to this stuff are in the show notes, CanaryCryNewsTalk.com. This is Whitney Webb is the one behind this article, and a lot of good articles that are out there. So give her a read if you are interested. But yeah, I just thought it was a thorough approach to some of this information. You know, it's not just a fringe blog. They do a good job of really laying out all the data points. Right. So there is no new strain.
There is, but
there very well
could be. There are new strains popping up all the time.
It's not. I don't know. It's not justification. Well, it's not enough to justify what they're doing over there in the UK. And so Boris needs to go
canceling Christmas. You mean
shave his head or something? Yeah,
shave his head. Eat some waffles. I like the hair. The hair is literally his only redeemable quality.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Well, speaking of the waccine guns, let's take this from newsbreak.com.
Yes.
Hold on, grab the full story here. No, I'm actually going to take it from telegraph.co.uk.
Oh, see, I wanted to get that one, but the paywall prevented me from.
So far, no.
Yeah,
nope, I got the paywall. Well, it'll be quick then. The headline is women urged to delay vaccine if they plan on getting pregnant within 2 months. We went through a whole big thing with pregnant women getting the vaccine recently, and we pretty much landed that if you're getting the vaccine and you're pregnant, you are the guinea pigs. You are volunteering your child to take an untested vaccine as far as pregnant women are concerned. The little blip they give here, women who receive the coronavirus jab are being told to abstain from unprotected sex for 2 months. The Sunday Telegraph can disclose. Wow, what a way to put that, huh? Official guidance for healthcare professionals about administering the new Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine says that women of childbearing age should be advised to avoid pregnancy for at least 2 months after their second dose. Okay, well, if you want to really know why you shouldn't get the vaccine 2 months or so before getting pregnant, you're going to have to go through the paywall. What a delusionally sick situation to be in. You got to pay to really learn why you shouldn't have a baby and get this vaccine.
I know.
Otherwise, you're on your own, ladies.
We should invite fewer people to be born.
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're kind of winding down. You got anything else to
Yeah, I
leave
got
us
one
on?
more. I got one more
Okay.
here.
Drone
Let's see
strikes
what
have
you got.
saved lives.
Can we shoot them down if over our property?
Drones.
BreakingDefense.com. Thor! Air Force tests counter-drone microwave in Africa.
What?
The Air Force is testing its prototype drone-killing microwave. The Tactical High-Power Microwave Operational Responder, or Thor. Let's just skip a few letter words in there to make it sound Thor. Quote, in a real-world setting in Africa, says Richard Joseph, the Air Force's chief scientist. Given how Iran and its proxies have used drone swarms, this would seem to be a good place to test without risking escalation or Iran developing countermeasures. Okay. Quote, we have recently deployed a test system to Africa for base defense based on a microwave system, and the purpose is to be able to disrupt and destroy the performance of drones or swarms of drones, he told the Mitchell Institute today. Quote, it's been tested extensively, works remarkably well. I've watched it in action, and it's really quite impressive.
Now, this is interesting. Why Africa? You know, out of all the places we got bases all over the world,
yeah,
are we having the most problem with drones in Africa?
I think what they're saying is that the opposition won't necessarily, develop or deploy some kind of op technology in Africa. Maybe, I don't know. Not sure.
Then why would you need it? Why do you need the anti-drone technology if they're not going to have drones?
Well, I'm saying they won't have like a measure against the Thor, not necessarily the drones.
Oh, okay. So they're
That's
not
what
going to.
I think they meant.
Huh, interesting.
He demurred on providing details about when Thor might be ready for operational deployment, but he did note that technology development is ongoing and that in the end, the service may choose a different weapon system. That said, Joseph said Thor was, quote, better than anything else the service has right now, and noted that, quote, the capabilities that can be incorporated in system are increasing day by day. As only Breaking D readers know. It's an interesting way to reference themselves.
Cool.
And only Breaking D readers know the Air Force back in August was readying Thor for overseas field experiments with Army warfighters, in particular keen to get their hands on directed energy weapons designed to counter small unmanned aerial systems.
Oh, that old crazy conspiracy theory?
Yeah, Thor uses high-powered microwaves to fry drones' electronics, shooting swarms out of the sky at short range. If anti-drone lasers are like sniper rifles, microwave weapons are like shotguns full of birdshot.
Nice.
Thor was designed by the Air Force Research Laboratory, and it uses a radar that AFRL bought from Idaho-based startup Black Sage last month. And so,
yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm seeing this now. Yeah, so they put it in Africa because Iran does use a lot of drones and drone swarms. They didn't want to test it against Iran because that would escalate the situation. Got it. Or it would give them a chance to develop countermeasures.
Yeah, look at this. Enabling logistics under attack, including figuring out how to protect bases, is one of the Air Force's top 4 priorities for the future. The Air Force's Strategic Development Planning and Experimentation Office, which leads service field experiments, including the Thor testing, announced in April that it also was going to deploy Raytheon's high-energy laser, HELWS, and high-power microwave, phaser, prototypes for overseas testing. Finally, AFRL is also working on the counter-electronic high-power microwave extended-range air-base air defense, Chimera.
Oh, wow.
I don't even know how they get Chimera out of, it
doesn't matter. We must fulfill the prophecy.
Designed to defeat targets at medium and long ranges. And then it just kind of goes on a little bit more from there, but yeah, this is what we need on our rooftops.
Yeah, I was going to say direct energy weapons making it to the mainstream. Everybody's got them.
You know, this makes me think that the Star Wars future is not going to really work because all those droids and robots, they're just going to melt. They're going to have
it's so easy to scramble electronics like that. It makes me wonder if these microwave weapons would be successful against guided missiles.
It might be too fast,
It could be.
Unless you charge
and it would just
up,
scramble them, and you still have a missile flying through the air.
Yeah, you'd have to charge up an entire region or something.
Yeah,
and still you would have
fry the citizens, fry everybody near them.
Well,
Don't worry,
we're
5G's
protecting
gonna
you.
be fine, everybody.
We're protecting
Don't
you.
Panic.
Don't worry, we're all just dousing you with microwave radiation, but it's to protect you.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right. Okay, well, you know what? I threw one last story from the World Economic Forum, but I think we should save it for next show. That's a really interesting one. Okay, are we landing this plane? What do you think?
Yep.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. That's right. You made it back. And so did we. And we are just a couple days before Christmas. So for those who celebrate that, have a wonderful Christmas. For those who don't, have a wonderful Friday. And we are going to be attempting to come back for one last show of the year on Sunday, December 27th.
Yes.
That is our current plan. Lord willing, in the creek don't rise. So make sure to put that on your calendar. Turn on notifications. Follow us in multiple platforms. That's so you make sure you don't miss that show. It'll be great. Other than that, remember to leave a rating and a review. Search Apple Podcasts or do it on your Apple Podcast player there. Ratings and reviews really help us out a lot. Tells the algorithms to share the show with those who have not heard of it before. Also, before we get too far down this line, if you haven't done it yet, hit the like button over on YouTube. Also help those algorithms. Thank you very much. And a big old thank you to today's producers of Canary Cry News Talk episode 280. That is producer Livrin, Eli, Saul, Kyle, Susan, Charlie, William, and of course our artists, Allie, producer Allie, Josiah. Oh, yeah, William Steele. Sorry, thank you, producer William Steele. And thank you again, Jade Bouncerson, for the timestamps for this show. And you, too, can become a producer of Canary Cry News Talk by heading to patreon.com/CCNT, or even better, head over to canarycryradio@gmail.com. No, that is not a website. canarycryradio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
That's right. Thank you very much to all of our producers, past, present, and future. If you want to take control back from the power of advertising to basically ruin every good thing on the internet, please consider becoming a producer of the show. It really is, I think, a very viable future of media, and it's the only way to make sure that the media and news that you are receiving, that you can actually trust, that there's no advertising or corporate interests behind it. I'm always kind of surprised that there are as many quote unquote truth tellers who rely on corporate money to support the thing. And if that works for them, that's great. But for us, it's an issue. It's an issue. So thank you to all of our producers for keeping us on track. And of course, for all those new producers coming in, we can't wait to thank you on the show. Now, you can also help out the show with your art, create jingles, show related, please. Send that to CanaryCryRadio@gmail.com. We'll put you on the show here, as well as musicians. You can write songs, record a song. We'll play it on the Canary Cry mixtape at the end of the show. It's always a great party. And lastly, just share the show with your friends and family. You got friends and family who are starting to wake up during this holiday season that the world is not what it seems, and that what they're being told in the mainstream may not be the whole story. And we'll be happy to become a part of that journey of theirs, waking up to all the shenanigans. And so send them an episode. Just pick one. This one's great. Last one was great. They're all great. And especially on the YouTube channel there, they can have timestamps and just kind of click around and learn what the show is all about. And if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone.
Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
Everybody loves waffles.
That's right. Everybody loves waffles, folks. Let's see. There's one last thing I was going to mention, but while I try to remember it, why don't you say goodbye to all the nice people, Guns?
Goodbye.
That's
Thank you guys for listening. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the ongoing support and encouragement. All the producers out there, you guys are awesome. And we'll be back Sunday.
That's right. Make sure to put your tickets in for the Canary Cry knife drawing. Producer Nigel, he's going to make a cool custom blade for you. And all you got to do is do social media posts, share a piece of Canary Cry material, whether it's a podcast from Canary Cry Radio or Canary Cry News Talk or a YouTube video or the Twitch stream, whatever it is, share it on your social media, tag it with hashtag Canary Cry News Talk. And if you'll get one drawing per post. So you really could do a whole bunch of them if you really want to get in there. And if you want to doubly make sure that everything gets counted, go ahead and screenshot it and send it to CanaryCryRadio@gmail.com. You're not going to regret it, I'll tell you that much. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We'll be back hopefully December 27th. That's a Sunday. But make sure to tune in then. But until then, think outside the cage.
Everybody loves waffles.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up.
Leave the bird alone.
I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
This
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, man.
See future humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on. Fast.